You're fine. Oh shit! I can't get the fucking thing going. Welcome to the Vegas Benchwarmer podcast. My name is Eric. He hate me 702. I don't know where Jeremy with the G is. He's supposed to be on here, but today I got some special guests that are going to be joining me. These great guys have great YouTube channels. They're great follows on Twitter account. I'm going to bring them on real quick to let them introduce themselves. I also do have my son. My son will be joining me soon. My oldest son, diehard Celtics fan. And basically, we're going to debate all day. We're going to debate about podcasts, about NBA, about the NBA. And we have a couple of topics coming up. We'll have them scrolling across the bottom. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And first, I'm going to bring in the first guy to let him go ahead and introduce yourself. Go ahead, boss.
Hey, I just want to say thank you for having me on your show, Vegas Benchwarmers. I love what you guys do, and you guys put out great content. And I'm Nithya Ramachandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. We have 6 people that helps out with the show, and we're currently at 810 episodes. And I just want to say thank you to all the followers who's watching our show, and it's amazing and it's growing every minute. And like I said, thank you again for having me on.
No problem. Thank you very much for joining. He does have a great show. You guys got to check him out. He has some fabulous guests. Next, we're going to go ahead and bring in, boy, I can't wait for this guy to come in. He's got his football twirling and everything. Oh, we about to have some fun. What's up, buddy? How you doing today?
What's cracking, fellas? How y'all? Good morning, man. I'm in LA. It's early, man. I had a late night, man. I'm in LA, so it's early.
I'm in Vegas, so I'm 9 a.m. I agree.
Okay, yeah.
Go ahead
morning,
and introduce yourself.
DJ Vader Husky, the Big Vanilla Sports King, CEO of VESN Sports and VJ Entertainment LLC. Also the host of VJs on Sports for Like Content. You can catch on iHeartRadio and on Spreaker.com. Also on StreamYard and the VESN Sports YouTube channel. Just like my man just mentioned, I want to thank everybody for the growing followers on Twitter. I greatly appreciate it, and it is all your pleasure to meet me today. No, I'm just joking. That's an old Dragonfly Jones line. That's an old Martin reference right there. If you guys remember the very first episode,
Martin.
Yeah, when he came in there, he was like, "I'm Dragonfly Jones. It is a pleasure for you to meet me." I just thought that was always like, yeah, that's how you should introduce yourself.
That is awesome. I see my son just stepped away from the camera. You guys will probably hear my dog bark in the background. That is Kansas. She is my Karen Terrier, so she makes a lot of noise. I don't understand why, but she does. So right now we're going to bring in my oldest son, and let him introduce himself. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what do y'all hear me good?
You good? Yeah. You good? How you doing?
All right, my name is Devin. I'm his oldest son. Happy to be here, talk about this. I got a lot to say. I did my research, so I know I'm ready.
All right. So first topic that I got up today, and this is literally the whole reason why I wanted to do this, is because I got into like a debate on Twitter, and I thought this at the time that he should have been the #1 overall pick, but I want to hear your guys' thought on this to start off. In the 2019 NBA draft, who do you think should have been the #1 overall pick? Do you still think basically 2 seasons later it should have been Zion Williamson, or do you think it should have been Ja Morant? We'll go ahead and start with in our hour right there up top. Go ahead and tell me what you think, boss.
I think it should. I mean, I'm going to stick with Zion Williamson. The track record he had at Duke, and obviously, but the injury concerns are there. But I think Ja Morant has a case now because this guy is something special, and he led the Grizzlies to back-to-back playoff appearances, and this guy is a stud. I'm telling you. Ja Morant, he's going to win future MVPs and hopefully a championship soon in his career. So I'm going to stick with Zion Williamson, but I have a case. There's a case for Ja Morant there for the #1 pick.
All right, go ahead, Big VESN, Big Vanilla. Go ahead, let us know.
I kind of have a beef with doing redrafts. I don't like doing them because it's easy to say, well, this guy should have won, or Michael Jordan should have went #1 in his draft. You know what I'm saying? Bowie had no business going before him, and even though Olajuwon went #1 overall, who got the better end of that deal? The Houston Rockets or the Chicago Bulls? I mean, 6 is more than 2. I'm just saying, and if Jordan never walks away, it could have been 8 in a row. So I'm gonna stick with my man, and I'm gonna go with Zion is he had a great season, guys. Like 26-8 or something. I mean, he can score. It's easier to score in the NBA today. He can flat out score the basketball. And I'm gonna tell you something about Ja Morant. Ja Morant's already had some injuries too, so let's not act like that Ja Morant's not already missed time. And he's a great scorer, but he kind of reminds me of a Jamal Murray, Spider Mitchell type player. Can you truly win a championship with him, or is he just going to be Damian Lillard, which I'm sure we'll get to a little bit later, and he's going to put up a bunch of points and a bunch of excitement and wave bye-bye to people in the first round? But can you win an NBA championship? And I'm going to hold you a little bit on, I'm going to let Devin go, but I'm going to hold you a little bit on future MVP because that there's a kid named Luka in Dallas that looks like about a 2 or 3 time MVP. Zion could win an MVP. Devin Booker could win it. Like, I think let's pump the MVP talk on Ja Morant just yet.
Devin, go ahead, man. Go ahead, get in.
You know, I'm gonna have to agree with what he just said too. When he said MVP, I was like, I don't know. We've got a lot of up and comers coming in the league. But back to the original question. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say I stick with Zion too. With Ja Morant, it's just much more of a risk. I feel like Zion Williams, you know Zion's gonna do good. You know Zion's gonna do you well. Zion is going to be a great centerpiece. Ja Morant is just now, this last year, really starting to grow into himself. And with the injuries, like he said before, they're basically in a very similar position. I'm just going to take Zion every time.
Also, really quick, sidebar. Do you guys know they played on the same AAU team together?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think I did a little picture.
Yep.
Yeah, they played AAU ball together. So listen, Ja went to Murray State, guys. Okay, I get it. I get, small school. Damian Lillard went to Weber. I get that too. But, you know, we had no idea who Ja Morant was until his last year going into the tournament. And then there's this, watch Murray State because they got a kid named Ja Morant that can light it up and this kid can fill it up. Mm-hmm. And then the NBA talk started. We knew Zion was an NBA player his sophomore year in high school. His junior year in high school, we knew he was an NBA player. I
think he actually came out the womb with the socks on. I read that somewhere.
I heard he was born. I heard the afterbirth was a Nike symbol. That's what I heard.
Okay, so
hard to tell through the test tubes.
Just to jump in and say what you said, like about we not knowing, and Ja Morant went to a small school and we didn't know who he was. There is a guy named Stephen Curry that we had no clue who he was, and he went to a small school until he went to the NCAA tournament. And he's lighting shit on fire. I'm not saying Ja Morant's going to be that, so don't misunderstand that. But just because he went to a small school and nobody understood who he was until he got on a national stage doesn't really mean nothing in basketball. If you could play, you could play. There are many of people that have gone to big schools, got on a national stage, showed up, and then got in the NBA and couldn't play. So, I mean, that's...
A few people knew who he was. His last name rings a bell. I'm old enough to remember when his dad was in his prime. Like, I'm old enough to remember when Dale could flat up light it up for the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh, yeah, so am I.
Before Grandma Mom, before Lonzo Mourning, Kendall Gill, Muggsy Bogues, Phyllis, the backup point guard, Bobby Fields. I remember that Charlotte team. So I get what you're saying about Steph, but also too, I think that last name kind of helps a little bit. Some people knew who he was, but none of us knew who Ja was.
But in the same aspect, in my opinion, like even at the same time, I've always said you take the guard over the big man. It doesn't matter, and we've seen this multiple times. Zion is amazing. Zion is a man among boys and has been a man among boys since he was probably 8. Like, realistically, he's probably been bigger and better than everybody he's played against to until he got to the college level, and he was still better than most of those people. Ja probably is a late bloomer where he translated later or got better later, just doing not being as big and being a smaller guy, probably trying to have to work on handles and stuff like that. In my opinion, and I know, like, I've heard people say, oh, point guard's the most important position. I don't care what you say. Guard is the most important position in the NBA. Yes, there is LeBron. There is Kevin Durant. You're 100%. There is Anthony Davis. There is a lot of these people, but we're not talking about the unicorns. I'm not saying that Zion Williamson will not be that, but no, every good playoff team has a point guard. They have an established point guard at some point in time. I think it would have been crazy for them to pick Ja because of the media hype surrounding Zion. That's the biggest thing is the media hype surrounding them was totally ridiculous. Ja has led his team to the playoffs twice. Now, I'm not saying that, and granted, the play-in game last year wasn't the playoffs, but if it wasn't for the play-in game, they would have been the 8th seed and Portland would have never gotten in. Mm-hmm. So he's gone toe-to-toe with Stephen Curry and beat him to get into the playoffs. Yeah, they got destroyed by Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert and Utah Jazz in a 4-1 series. Granted, I mean, destroyed just because of these series, not that they got utterly, but once Spidey came in, it was a totally different series. You knew the series was kind of over. Yeah. But to me, he adds way more value. The Pelicans are still looking for a point guard. And if we just look at the team they could have had, they could have drafted Ja. They still would have had the 4 pick. They still would have had that. They still would have had Brandon Ingram. Maybe they don't go after Lonzo and they get Kyle Kuzma instead. They still would have had that. Maybe they keep Julius Randle instead of going out and letting Julius Randle go to New York Knicks instead of keeping getting Zion Williamson, because of the fact that Julius isn't getting paid and I'm seeing afford a huge contract right now. He had a 2-year player option. And then maybe they draft some depending on who they get. They still could have got Jackson Hayes. I still think they would have been in a better position than they are now by taking Ja. And I thought that at the beginning, just because Zion is that unicorn, that everything has to go right for him to be the MVP and everything. He has to have no injuries. He has to be able to play at such an undersize. Like, yeah, he's got man strength, but he's still short. He's Charles Barkley's height. He's got to develop that 3 potentially, so where it's more of a threat than it is just he's open and he's going to hit maybe 1 or 2 threes a game. Like, there's so much he has to work on, in my opinion, to get to that level that he's at. He's going to put up stats. He's going to average 25, 26 points a game his career. His team will probably be in the playoffs. But is he going to do everything and have the career? Granted, even though his injuries have always been a problem in college. His injuries were a problem in high school. He's always, because he is that guy. He's a man-child that shouldn't be built like that. Is he going to spend the $1 million a year on his body like LeBron James does to keep that shit in health? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of why I've always thought Josh should have been he just fits in immediately. Zion, in my opinion, has so much more to become that transitive star. John may never become that, ever. I'm not saying he will. But he's the guy that, in my opinion, is going to help you win a lot more games than Zion early on in his career. And Zion may never get his potential. And really, honestly, it's kind of shown. People are saying, oh, Memphis has a team. Memphis wasn't supposed to make the fucking playoffs last year. Nobody thought Memphis would be the 8th seed. Nobody thought that.
I'm going to let one of these guys jump in before I rebuttal that.
Go ahead.
I want to say something real fast, too, because you have to remember, these GMs' jobs are on the line when they go into the draft. If you're the Pelicans, if you take John Morant over Zion Williams and in 5 years or whatever, it doesn't pay off, you just lost your job. You didn't take the obvious. You didn't take the obvious. You didn't take Zion. What's wrong with you? And if Zion does great in his first few, maybe he doesn't get injured if he goes to another team his first few. Maybe he just does better his first few seasons. You know what I mean? That right there, you are out of a job now, no matter what, as the GM of the Pelicans, because you didn't take the obvious first picks. I think it's just the safer pick. And I already said earlier, like I said, they're very similar positions of not positions on the court, but like as a player for your franchise, where they're coming in and you're not expecting them to be number 1 right away. Like you're saying, Zion needs help, and you don't even expect that of Ja. So I think if you're comparing the two, it's still Zion all day, every day, because he's the obvious first pick. And if you take the risk with Ja, you're out of a job in 5 years when you guys don't get past the first round. You're
the Pelicans GM. You're going to be out of a job in 5 years anyway.
Unless Zion turns it around. Maybe they.
As of right now, you're right. He's a 10 seed 2 years. He could even be a 10 seed. He's an 11 seed 2 years in a row.
Yeah. So
go ahead, Nita. I'll let you go. I'll let you go before me, buddy.
Yeah, I want to speak on the Grizzlies because I think the Grizzlies have obviously better talent than the Pelicans right now, and they're set up better in the for the future than the Pelicans. And I'm pretty sure that free agents should be looking at Memphis now as a possible destination because Jenkins is a heck of a coach. I love the way they play. Obviously, you have Jackson there, Morant, and the other great talented players there. So I think I would take Zion in a heartbeat when it comes to whatever the first round pick. But when it comes to talent, I think the Grizzlies are set up much better than the Pelicans right now because they made the playoffs 2 years in a row, and I think they should be a free agent destination now for Memphis.
But we weren't saying that before he got
Oh,
drafted.
I know. Yeah, but now
a few things. First of all, the Pelicans have a point guard.
mhm.
The Pelicans have a point guard. His name is Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
One of the better defensive perimeter point guards, one of the better top 5 passers in the league, and is getting better at his shot. A lot went wrong in New Orleans this year. I'm a Pistons fan, lifelong Pistons fan. I got a chance to see Van Gundy up close and personal. Do I hate Van Gundy as much as everybody else seems to? No. But it seems to be a problem down there. Now, I'll say, okay, but you still have Hart. You still have Ingram. You still have Lonzo. You still have J.J. Redick. You brought in J.J. Redick, a veteran who can steady the locker room, who's a great shooter, who's going to hit 47, 46% of his threes for you. And you still have Lonzo Ball. If you guys are going to tell me Memphis is more talented, that's not true. They may be better coached, but they are not more talented. Ja kind of reminds me of like a Kevin Garnett style player where not his skill set or anything, because Kevin Garnett's a 7-footer, but just he went to a city that's just been in the NBA slums forever. They've been good like 1 or 2 times getting out of the first round in the history of their franchise. Ja's not staying there, guys. Ja, I don't care. There's no free. If you've been to Memphis, I've been to Memphis. The best thing they got going is the ribs, and you can get them shits at any grocery store across the nation. So Ja's not staying there. Mm-hmm. A guy like Dylan Brooks is not staying there because some other team in 2 or 3 years is going to see how hard he plays. He can score. He was a beast when he was at Oregon. So I don't know why this is such a surprise, especially to like the people commentating the game. Is like, did you not watch him at Oregon?
Are you talking about Dylan Brooks, right?
Say it again.
Talking about Dylan Brooks, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Like, did you not watch him in college? So this team won't even be around in 4 or 5, guaranteed. This team won't even be around in 4 or 5 years. And Ja, if he's smart, and I don't want to be the small market, big market guy, but a guy like him needs a big market. Like LeBron can do it in any market. KD can do it in any market. Kobe can do it in any market. Damian Lillard's doing it in Portland. Like he's got rap beefs with Shaq. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about like he's doing it in Portland where there's one pro team. No baseball, no football. And you got the Ducks. And that's it. So I think Ja's a guy that in 3 or 4 years I would look at it and say, bro, think of Miami, think of New York, think of LA, think of Dallas, because you're in Memphis. And there's not a player in their history we can look at and go, remember what he did for the Grizzlies? It's just not, even they're in Vancouver. It's just not a franchise. So I don't think that he's even going to be there long enough for this to even be a discussion of what team's going to be better down the line. And there's no guarantee that Zion's going to stay in New Orleans.
Right. True.
There's no guarantee. Zion wanted to go to New York. Everybody knew it. He wanted to be a Knick. He wanted to be on the billboards of Madison Street and Fifth Avenue and Times Square. He really wanted that. They can use him, man, because you talk about Julius Randle, and I'll wrap it up on this part. And boy, you talk about a guy. Listen, man, he just didn't show up in the playoffs. And it's funny because my wife was saying after game 1, my wife was like, God, why don't you give him a break? We got to let guys grow. I said, listen, I get all of that, but in a postseason, your franchise ain't been in the playoffs in 7-8 years, and you come out and you shoot 6 of 23, and then you follow it up with that second game, and then the third and the fourth and the fifth, bruh, you are not that guy. Last point. Most improved players, guys, normally aren't, franchise changers. They don't get like LeBron don't have a most improved award. KD doesn't have a most improved award. Kobe never won the most improved award. Let's stop tipping our hat to most improved player. That means you were bad. And then you got a little good. And then that's kind of what you'll probably be. So I think they were smart by Julius Randle. But to go further as far as the number 1 pick, Zion's still the pick. I do honestly believe, though, neither one of these teams are going to be what we see in 4 years. So it's not who's going to do better for these teams. Neither one of these teams are going to be what they are.
Yeah. That is a very, very good point. Didn't even think about that. You're 100% right. The way the NBA players move around right now.
The way they move, the way they move around. These guys, Ja, I'll put $100 on it with anybody right now watching or any of you three right now. Ja won't be there. What's this, 2025? He's gone.
I know. I can imagine that. I can imagine that. I can imagine that right now. Yeah. I can imagine that. All right. So We got our stat and Google guy that just showed up. This is Jeremy with the G. He's my other podcast partner. He does not watch any basketball whatsoever.
Sorry, I forgot what time it was.
Anybody you need to Google anything, that is our stat guy. If you need a stat, he is amazing at Google. Whatever you need, he will stay up to date on what we're talking about, so he can throw random stats at us at the same time. So that way we don't trip over our words. He's also great at correcting when you're wrong. So, and especially me. So I will literally have like somebody telling me, nah, you wrong, Eric. You wrong. All right.
Isn't that like a caveat to have in sports talk radio nowadays? Where
it's lovely.
Don't we all have that ability to tell people when they're wrong?
But this is lovely because like he immediately corrects me and I'm like, oh, you're 100% right. No, I didn't say that. Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. Yeah,
it worked out because I talk a lot of shit. So you got to keep like that shit talk there. You know, you got to at least be right if you're talking shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, all right. So next topic we're going to go on to, and Jeremy, I'm sorry I didn't send you the topics ahead of time. I apologize. I thought I did.
So good. But I didn't realize what time it was.
Yeah, I got them scrolling down at the bottom, okay?
It's my third day out here.
Yeah. So next thing we're going to go on to, which is going to be something that's right up with Devin's alley because he is a diehard Celtics fan. What should the Celtics do this offseason? Now, I'm going to start
shake your head at me.
With Big Vanilla Sports over here, and I'm going to tell you why, because I have heard him talk in our group chat all year about Brad Stevens being done with coaching, and he is literally normally on the mark on a lot of NBA shit going on. And I mean, I can stamp that. Like, that's his thing. Stamp it. So go ahead and you start off with this.
Well, first of all, 80s in a WWF relevance. I'm going to do a Barry Horowitz and pat myself on the back here because I've been telling people for all year. Listen, I like Brad Stevens. I do. He's a nice guy. But nice guys don't do shit in sports unless your name's Tim Duncan. Okay? You got to have some asshole. You got to have some people that don't like you. You got to have some haters. Nobody hates Brad Stevens. He reminds me of Doc Rivers. He cares about your family. He cares about what happened in Little Sarah's game on Saturday. He really does. But that don't do shit with 13 seconds left in the game and you down by 1 and you got to draw some X's and O's to get a bucket because you don't have Paul Pierce. You know, Patino said Larry Bird's not walking through that door. Him and Kevin McHale's not walking through that door. And I like Tatum, but Tatum kind of is like, he's today's guy. Could score a lot. Tell me who is he defending. So back to Brad Stevens. I thought when the Indiana job became available, it was the smartest thing if he'd have said, you know what? I'm out of Boston. People are going to be mad for about a week or two. They got the Bruins in the playoffs right now, up 2-1. They got the Patriots revamping their defense. They got the Red Sox busting ass right now. They'll be mad for about a week. He could have went back to Indiana and Bloomington, 42 miles away from Butler University, got right back into recruiting, got right back into the living rooms and kitchens and the good graces of college basketball and said, you know what? I saw the writing on the wall before this happened. I said, he's not going to coach past this year. The players aren't responding to him. And he's letting these decisions happen, and his team is soft. Some of these injuries these guys are getting, it's like, come on, man. You got to just play. You got to either play through it or you just got to go somewhere else. Letting Kyrie get out of there, how's that looking for you now? You exchanged him for Kemba Walker. How's that looking for you now? And then when the other day where he said, where it came out that Danny Ainge was stepping down and he was moving up and people on Twitter were like, oh, you're wrong because it's a promotion. Is it really a promotion? Is it really a promotion? And they have so much work to do in Boston, but this Brad Stevens thing was never going to work out because a lot of college guys, it just doesn't work. When you're a college coach, you're a college coach. Ask Nick Saban. Ask Nick Saban how Miami went. You can blame the doctors on the Drew Brees diagnosis all you want to. There were other pieces of that team you couldn't coach and put together. So it wasn't just about the Drew Brees decision. But, yeah, man, Brad Stevens taking that job in the front office now. Danny Ainge moves on. You have to figure this thing out. And I said, ever since they went to the Eastern Conference Finals in Game 7 at home, Kyrie was hurt, but they really pushed the Cavs. Till about a minute and a half left in that game. They should have won that damn basketball game. But ever since then, they've been regressing. And I called it back then. I said, they've been regressing. I said, in this year, 7th, 8th seed, they're not getting out of the first round. So now you went from conference final, second round, conference final, first round. And now oh, I'm out of coaching. Now we got to try to find a guy. So there's Jason Kidd, Mark Jackson, Kenny Smith's name's thrown out there. Coach K, are you kidding me? You guys are going to go hire a 74-year-old lifelong college guy to come try to fix this? Nah, they're in a lot of trouble. I know, Devin, I'll let you roll, but I'm telling you, homie, your squad, like you have pieces. I'm not trying to act like your team's trash, but you're in a lot of trouble because Brooklyn, Knicks, Trae Young down in Atlanta, there's some other Eastern teams coming hard, homie, and it looks bleak for Boston in the future. It would surprise me if Jason Tatum puts a filler out there after next season. If he don't like the coaching hire, the season doesn't go well, wouldn't surprise me at all if Jason Tatum puts out, I want to be traded filler. Mark that down. Give it about 18 months. Mark that down. If the coaching search doesn't go well and he doesn't like the guy, Jason Tatum will put out a statement he wants to be traded.
All right, a whole bunch to unpack there, but let me just go with my thoughts on what we should do this offseason. Two things. One, with Brad Stevens moving up, Danny Ainge stepping down, I completely agree with you about we've been regressing since that series with the Cavs. You look at the moves Danny Ainge has made throughout his career. He's made tons of good moves, and you look at the ones in the last few years, and a lot of people like to forget the ones he made before with getting Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. Even getting Kyrie Irving, we're not going to act like that wasn't a good move at the time. It didn't pay off well, but it was good at the time. Even Gordon Hayward, it was a good move at the time. Shame he snaps his ankle, 7 minutes or whatever into his team and never gets back to where he was. Even now, somehow Charlotte pays him to still not be back where he was. But if we go back to Boston, I don't think Tatum leaves. That's one thing I think that doesn't happen. I think two people that as long as we don't treat them wrong, we can build around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown very easily. I think every other person on that team is very movable, and that includes Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart needs to go this offseason. He's done his time in Boston. We need to offload him now before he starts to decline, because he already is steadily declining, and teams are going to pick up on that very soon. They already have. Same with Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson came in, he did okay. If he stays, but I think we need to upgrade there. Maybe we put together a package to try and move for a better big somewhere around the league. Coaching wise, all the coaches you said, definitely, of course not. Kenny Smith, God no. But there's much better options. I've seen Chauncey Billups' name in the running. I've seen Becky Hammond's name in the running. I've seen Sam Cassell, Jerome Allen. These are some of the people that have respect within the Celtics organization. And if they came in, they would already kind of understand what works. They would even be a good resource for Brad Stevens to rely on. That's something Stevens is going to be looking for, is someone who maybe even has experience within the Celtics organization. I wouldn't even be surprised if the organization reaches out to Kevin Garnett, who just had a fall through with Minnesota, a whole falling out with them. He was supposed to become sort of an ambassador for their association. Kevin Garnett was going to come on and be the sort of role model for young players in Minnesota, of all places. But then the owner, I believe, did him wrong. They had a whole falling out, and now Kevin Garnett's kind of just wandering around. So if Kevin Garnett comes out, there's a lot of options we can bring in that could help us grow around Tatum and Brown. I think that's the key, though. As long as we hold on to those two, we're not going to act like the Celtics, even with just those two, aren't still a playoff team, a playoff contender. We're not acting like Tatum isn't going to be you said John Morant could be an MVP. Well, no, because like you said, Luka, Zion, Tatum has a few MVPs in his future.
Booker,
we'll see what happens.
Mitchell, there's a few.
Exactly, Mitchell. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with what the Celtics end up doing. I'm hoping for big moves very fast. I want, first week of free agency, big, because, we need them. And Ainge didn't really do anything the last few years. Ainge kind of let everything fall by the wayside. We didn't do anything really with the picks in the draft we've had the last few years. We kind of just not traded up when we could have, or not moved around when we should have. So he's been quiet the last few years, and I think it's because he decided he was done more than a few years ago. I know he said the last 2 years, or he said the COVID season really made him feel like taking. No, I feel like he's been thinking about it for years. He's an old man. He's been in Boston for a while. So.
What about Kawhi as a free agent? If I'm sorry, this is
I was gonna get there. I wanted everyone else to get their point across before I'm on trade targets, because I know Kawhi. If they don't win the Western Conference Finals, at least, I don't see Kawhi staying in LA. There's no reason for him to.
Wow. That'd be some big news. But
Go ahead, boss. Go ahead.
for me or
You, yeah.
yeah. So this is a topic I really want to talk about because I love the Celtics team and like Danny Ainge, man, he missed out on some great opportunities by getting Paul George. He missed out on that. He missed out. Obviously, he missed out on some other big trades, and I think it's time for Brad Stevens now. Since he's in the front office, Brad Stevens needs to unleash some of these draft picks, trade these draft picks, go get Damian Lillard. You guys need a point guard. You can, if you guys pair him up with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, I think that you're set there. And you need to obviously upgrade on the front. You guys don't have enough front court depth. I mean, like Tristan Thompson, he's okay, but you need a younger active rebounder and
those elbows.
Yeah, who can play defense. So I think that's one of the targets. And obviously, if you guys can get Dame Lillard, man, your team is set there. But for the coaching wise, here's a name that everybody should be talking about: Kara Larson. I think she is obviously she was an assistant with you guys. I think the Celtics players have a lot of respect for her. I think she needs to get some opportunities here, and I think Brad Stevens should go after her. Look at Kara Larson's resume. Obviously, it speaks for itself. She's amazing, really inspiring. I think Kara Larson should be up on top of everybody's list when it comes to coaching. But when it comes like I said, Celtics, you need a point guard, power forward, center. Unleash those draft picks, man. It's time to go big, man. It's go big or go home, right? So Dame Lillard, I think Dame Lillard fits perfectly in Boston. So
if I could just to rebut on the Kara Larson thing, I actually know Kara.
Oh, okay.
I went to I'm from the same area of Virginia she's from. She went to West Springfield High School in Alexandria, Virginia. So I watched her play before she went off to Tennessee all through high school. And I think I'm a father of daughters. I was raised by a single mother, and my grandmother are my favorite people on the planet. So I'm all about women. I've done women's sports shows. I'm all about the ladies. But this question I do have to ask: do you honestly think that we are at the position in society right now, not for social change, just for society today? You think these men are ready to take orders or be head coached by a woman in today's America? You think one of these owners are ready to put a woman in that place?
I think if anybody, it would be who you claim, nice guy, softy Brad Stevens as the owner, and to fill his role, because those players can respect Brad Stevens. They can respect anybody. That's your point.
The right woman, yes, like Becky Hammon, somebody that has went up just like any other coach.
I think
so
that's a great
coach. Like we're not saying this to be mean or anything like that. So I don't want anybody thinking that we're downgrading women. But it has to. It's just like any other coach.
It's the players, not us.
Somebody that's respected, that has worked their way up. So like we had this issue when Steve Nash got hired with the Nets, where what has he done to get the coach? When Steve Kerr was hired with the Warriors, what has he done to get the coach? So it has to be somebody that the team can respect. The men, the players on the team, the front office, the other coaches can respect because they have worked their way up. And I think that woman is Becky Hammon, because we have seen her take over. And she's part of Pop. Now, the thing that sucks is Popovich is like the Bill Belichick. Not a lot of his coaches succeed. Like, he's had a lot of coaches that have gone out and they don't really succeed very well. And she would have a lot on her plate coming into Boston to be that coach. But I think she would be the right woman for the job.
Yeah, much more than Kara. I agree with you. Much more than Kara. And I I know her. My wife works at ESPN. She's worked with Kara. I love Kara to death. But like that's a super, super excellent point. Is if you're gonna place a woman, it's gotta be somebody that's done it. It's gotta be somebody that's worked their way, and she's coached in the summer league. She's helped with the Olympic team. Becky Hammon is the female I think should get the first NBA coaching job, because the point that you so eloquently stated, she's done it already, and the players would respect that more. If Steve Kerr, I hate that he got knocked, because the guy played for Phil and played for Pop. You got to learn something.
And he was a GM. And he was a GM.
So I hated that he got drafted. It's like, no, he ain't coached before, But dude, if you want to coach and you're a player and you're thinking about that as your future, I'm pretty sure you're taking notes on Phil.
Of course,
you're taking notes on Tex Winners.
Yeah.
You're taking notes on Popovich, and you take that. And I'm pretty sure you can pick up the phone and call either one of them men right now at any moment and ask a coaching question and get an answer and a solution to his problem. So Nash, same thing. I mean, the guy did play. People don't like D'Antoni, but let's just, I mean, you want to talk offense? Let's talk D'Antoni.
Yeah, but that's what I was basically saying. Like, it's not just the women, but again, also she has to be tough enough to be able to take the stupid shit that fans and guys.
It's gonna come.
That's another thing. Like, Jackie Robinson was the right guy. Not everybody could have done what he did. The guy that was in the park where that lady was choking her dog and was the right guy, because I would have cussed her out left and right. Becky Hammon is the right woman because she has the toughness. She's played. She's been through that. She's had expectations. She's played multiple years in the WNBA. Like, she is very, very. So she is that person that she can just be like, no, I don't care about what y'all say. Let's focus on sports, because the fans are going to give her. People are going to give her shit anyway. But back to the Boston Celtics thing real quick. Yeah. My issue with Danny Ainge is I think Danny Ainge has gotten, fairly or unfairly, elevated to a great GM because of 2 trades. And I think realistically, that's what happened. Like, he got elevated because of the Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen to Paul Pierce, and they won a championship immediately after that. Now, we could say what we want to say about injuries, and then they lost their second time, but they won 1 championship out of an aging group. And then after that trade, he literally fleeced out of the Nets for Paul Pierce. Like, that's what he did. So he's gotten this elevated GM based off of 2 trades. And one of my best friends, not only is he a Boston Celtics fan, one of my best friends is a diehard Celtics fan, and his favorite phrase is Ainge we trust. And I'm just like, you've literally gotten. We're not going to talk about you not using draft picks to move up in any point in draft. Yes, you did get the Philadelphia 76ers
trade.
We're not
going to act like we're leasing
for
you
Markelle
guys
Fultz instead of Jason Tatum. But you realistically sat there. You never added any other superstars to your roster. Yes, you added Kyrie Irving, but Kyrie Irving wanted to get out. It's not like you
wanted out of Cleveland so bad. He didn't win it.
Yeah, so I mean, he wanted out. And we're going to talk about that trade, because there was other topics that came up in that trade that I did not know about. You probably did. And then let's not forget, he did not trade Gordon Hayward for Miles Turner. What is their problem this year?
Okay.
I texted you and I tweeted you. What the fuck is he doing? He wanted TJ Warren. No, Gordon Hayward was gone. And you literally could have had Miles Turner, who was anywhere between a 17 and 20 and an 8 and 12 guy on a regular basis, borderline all-star with the right team, and you could have had him that could play power forward and center. And you could have had him for nothing, basically, because you were getting rid of Gordon and you let him fucking walk. I don't fault them for the Kemba Walker thing, because I thought Kemba Walker was a lot better than what I thought he would be a lot better for them. I actually, at multiple times, said that the difference between Kyrie and Kemba, besides talent, was very, very little. What Kyrie had in the advantage of talent, Kemba made up by a lot. So that was my take on that point. But again, it didn't turn out to be very, very good signing. But realistically, you lost Gordon Hayward for nothing. And you could have had Miles Turner. He has made multiple bad decisions. As I told you when you signed Marcus Smart, that was a bad decision to re-sign that man, because that's the only place Marcus Smart ever does good at. He would never do good in any other city. Any other team, nobody would deal with this flopping and all of the shit that he does. He is perfect for Boston, and y'all paid him way too much. He has made bad. Bringing Tristan Thompson on, bad decision. Bad decision. bad. I don't understand why. He
You
hasn't
guys
been
are
good.
banging on Tristan. I disagree. You guys are banging on Tristan. I like
Listen,
Tristan for that team.
Listen,
I love Tristan for that team. I'm trying to figure out where the Tristan hate's coming
I
from.
like Tristan as a backup,
My-
as a mate, but not as somebody that's going to come in and
I
start.
like him more. I
And
like
their
him
main
more as a
big man.
4 than a 5. Yeah, he's our 5. I
Yeah,
like him
a
much more as a
of course.
4.
He's a 4.
He's
yes.
our 5.
I saw
He's
him
their
play in high
5, though.
school.
That's what I'm saying. He's their 5.
Well, that's
So we
because
know-
the league's gone small, though.
Because
That's
they
not
didn't
his
get Miles
fault.
Turner.
No, because but then he's just not. He doesn't match up well with us. I think he would be better as a 4 if we could move to a bigger, stronger 5.
Jeremy, what's
But
Tristan Thompson's
the league
contract?
has gone small, though. That's not Tristan's fault. That he's got to be pushed to. He didn't ask to play the 5. He got pushed to play the 5.
You're right.
because
I'm
the league is
not. I'm not
gone small.
faulting Tristan.
But if the league is going small and you sign somebody that doesn't fit what the league is going, that's a bad sign.
Agreed.
Okay,
Agreed. But I'm
not saying he's a bad player.
No, he's not.
He just doesn't fit what they're trying to do, in my opinion. Like that's my issue. It was not a good fit.
I think Tristan is
we
good
messed up with Miles Turner. We know we need a big man. Let's grab somebody that has championship DNA and put him on a roster.
I'll say this.
That was a bad fit. That had nothing to do with on-court fit.
Well, no. Because if we look at the Celtics centers we had before, we had Kelly Olynyk starting for a while. God no. We had Enes Kanter starting for a while. So Tristan Thompson is definitely a huge step up over what we had.
He just doesn't fit.
And over the last
None of
5
those
years,
guys
every
fit.
center we've had, I've been saying, please, Ainge, upgrade your center. We need a better center. We need someone better. And we've gotten progressively smaller, but still better. I wish we'd have kept the size of Olynyk and Kanter and got the skill of Tristan Thompson. If we could have gotten a 7-footer who could move like Tristan Thompson, it'd been much better, I feel like, for the team than what we have. It was 6'10"
that don't fit and are not going with the NBA.
That
as a championship team. He's not a rebuild team no more.
And
He's
you
a
already mentioned
championship
it. You already
caliber
said
team. He
you already
has
said our
players
front
that
court
should be a
needs
championship
improvement.
contending team. They're not, but they should be. I think he's elevated over 2 major trades. I think his track record is not that good.
And
even with Jaylen Brown, I'll agree with you because I said this, and you guys I said this last season. I don't see them even with Jaylen Brown healthy. Devin, honest, I don't see them as a championship team, and that's not. But I have no beef with Boston. I have no history in my life as basketball against Boston. I worked in Walpole, Massachusetts. I lived in Connecticut for 7 years. I got no beef with the Celtics. But I just look at that team and I'm like, yeah, 55, 54 wins because Jason Tatum's going to give you 26 and Jalen's going to give you 25. But when you talk championship teams, I have a hard time looking at that team and going, that's a chance. It's like, okay, second round conference finals, which we've seen it. Like, let's get real. People can talk that bubble crap. Oh, the infected orange is the hardest. I call it the AAU Mickey Mouse bubblegum tournament plaque. That's what that shit was last year. And they lost to the Heat. And that same Heat team, that saying you cannot call yourself a championship team, losing to that Heat team, and then that Heat team showing up, not just the playoffs. The Heat weren't doing shit all year long. Wasn't just the playoffs. If you watch them all year long, it's like, yeah, that was a fluke in the bubble. They're gonna fin. They're fighting to get to the 7th and 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. And let's get real. Unless Giannis doesn't go down with an ankle last year, they beat their ass. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at Boston, it's not banging on them. I look at that squad. That's why I think they're in trouble. And you don't see it. A lot of people don't see it now. But I'm looking down the line 2 years, and I'm just like, this team's in trouble. Your brother mentioned it. They have some bad signings. You got to find people that's going to want to take those contracts. Are you like Marcus Smart? You at least got to deal with them for another year. You can't move them this year. Nobody's going to take them. No one's going to. Not this year. Maybe next year. Nobody's going to take him. So he's on your roster this year. So you do have to bring him. Tristan Thompson's going to be back. They will sign Tristan Thompson. He's going to stay. So I look 2 years down the line and. And once again, the coaching. Here's another name I'll throw out there too, guys. George Karl.
Oh, wow.
Guy that's through his cancer. Yes.
George Karl.
That's through his cancer. Has some quiet. My nephew's Kendall Marshall, so I'm connected to the Tar Heel family.
Okay.
And there's rumblings. He wants to get back. There's rumblings in the Tar Heel circle. He's getting that itch back again. Feels like he can sit on the bench for 82 games, and his body and the cancer's kind of. George Karl is a guy that I would look at and reach out to. Another name too, Chauncey. I get it. I don't think this is a job though for a first-time coach. I
Me
really
too.
don't. I think they need to go get a guy right now. This is gonna sound bad, but Terry Stotts just got released. Terry Stotts' only problem is he doesn't demand defense. Hold on. Here's the thing though. He doesn't demand defense. So I can see somebody saying no, that's why he's not in Portland anymore. He doesn't demand defense.
Steve Clifford in the same pot and just push it off a hill. I don't want neither.
Yeah.
No coach that just got fired needs to come to Boston right now because these are the only coaches that did not prove themselves.
How about a guy?
Terry Stotts and Steve Clifford both.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll shut up for a second.
All right, I'm gonna bring up one assistant coach that everybody should be looking at. Philip Handy from the Lakers. How about that guy? I'll throw his name in there for Boston. I think he would be a perfect fit for Boston. Because he can relate to the stars, obviously with LeBron. He had LeBron, AD, and when he was in Cleveland, LeBron, Kyrie. So I feel like he can relate to the Celtics players with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and they'll have respect for him. I think Philip Handy is another candidate for Boston that Brad Stevens should be looking at right now.
What about Jason Kidd? I mean, he's coached. He's got experience. He's coached. He knows how to handle stars. He was a star himself. He did coach stars in the league. Byron Scott.
So the thing
I think that's a good,
I think there's something we have to consider too. So there's a whole lot of talk obviously in the league already with social movement and social change already. And Boston is a place that does not get a good rep in terms of not, in that front. And then with the movement of Brad Stevens up to ownership, it just got exasperated. People are like, oh, wow, look at that. They're going to keep it in the family, basically. And then so if we bring in a coach that is not a minority of some sort, a woman or a person of color, I mean, we're just asking for it at this point. And Boston being what it is, I don't see us not going with a coach of color or a woman. And it just seems extremely unlikely to me. There's no reason not to. And I think a woman is a safer bet for Boston because it'd be a white woman, to be frank, and that would be much more comfortable in Boston. They'd be much more accepting of something like that. But I mean, like I said, I would love to see Chauncey Billups. That's probably my number one. I would love to see Chauncey Billups or what I said before, Jerome Allen, something like that, where Jerome Allen's been in some organization before, or Chauncey Billups, who I think just needs a chance. If we got Steve Nash got a chance in Brooklyn, I don't see why Chauncey Billups doesn't get one in Boston.
I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I do. Right. I appreciate because that's how I talk. I would say the same things like, it's a race. Listen, I've been there. I've lived around there. It's a racist city.
Yeah, Boston's extremely racist.
You can't shake it no other way. I don't think it's a safe job for a black man right now.
And I think it even was worse. It got worse when Danny Ainge came out and said, "Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about." Like, Danny, let's not play stupid, Danny. Come on.
Especially when you have Jaylen Brown on your team, who by the way,
you have Jaylen Brown,
one of the biggest
outspoken
NBA social justice warriors.
Yeah. And I think that was telling he was gone too. That was telling he was already moving on. He didn't want. That's why I think Danny Ainge didn't do anything these last 2 years. He didn't want to make a big move or make a big trade, a big signing, a big something, and then lead the organization a few years later and be, burned down in the city for it. I think he'd like to still have some sort of reputation in Boston. So he just took the back seat, let the team ride out for a few years, and then fades away while he hands it off to Brad Stevens, who everyone loves. And I think that's his safest exit for the position. And that's what he was looking to do.
Which is exactly what I thought Brad Stevens should have done as the head coach. Fade away quietly.
Brad Stevens still may do it. Brad Stevens still may, because he even talked about how the COVID season and the bubble, he hated being away from his family. He is a family man. So while the GM job and the ownership is a little more settled down, he's still going to be on the road a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised even if he transitions back to college or transitions just out of NBA position or to something way more backseat so he can stay with his family more often in 4 or 5 years. This could be
not only though, if I could, just on the social justice stuff, I also could see a guy like Brad Stevens walking away because he's not built to handle that. Brad Stevens is not his demeanor. He's not built to stand in front of the press and say, "Listen, Black Lives Matter," or whatever you want to say to defend your black. Brad Stevens not built like that, and I can see him going, "Okay, you know what? This is getting a little deep. I just wanted to coach, and now I'm running the organization. I'm going back to college. I'm going back to where I can recruit. I can pick who I want. I can pick what kitchen I want to sit in. I can pick because when you're an NBA coach, when you get 20-year-old Jamal Murray, you get everything that comes with when you get AD, when you get everything that comes with them. That's the homies, that's the sister, the brother, the uncle that now lives in the city with him at the house to watch over him. The mama sends her brother out there, the uncle to go live with him. You get all of that. And you have to be built a certain way as a front office person in pro sports to handle that shit. Because this guy makes $25 million a year. So you don't get to tell him what to do. He kind of gonna do what he want to do as long as he's showing up every night. But AI is the greatest example of that. AI's from Virginia too. I know people that know him like really close. Dude, some of the AI stories that I know while he was in Philly getting MVPs and averaging 30 a night will blow your mind, dude. I'm dead serious. It'll blow. You'll be like, hold on. He did what day? The day of a game? Yeah. But he kept dropping 27 and 28 a night. It kept packing the stands. But back to Brad, I think Brad would be out on something like that too. I don't think he's built and wants any part of that. Like, no, I'll just go back to college and do that. That's more comfortable for me.
All right, so look, I'm gonna go ahead because I found this out 2 days ago, and since we were talking about the Kyrie with the Celtics, I think you know about this. I would be shocked if you didn't know about this, but there was a trade offer for Kyrie to the Bucks instead of the Celtics. Mm-hmm. And the offer was for Brogdon and Chris Middleton for Kyrie Irving. What do you think would have happened if he was traded to the Bucks instead of the Celtics? On both sides.
You're going to me first?
And the Bucks. Yep, going to you first.
Yeah. Well, actually, that was a rumor that was out, and one of the reasons why I heard that it was debunked is because, and it's weird too, because he has Garnett now. I mean, not Garnett. He has Durant now. Kyrie wanted his own team, and if he had went there, it's not really his team. He's still playing under Giannis. I think it would have been a different dynamic with their relationship because the him and LeBron, a lot of people don't. They never got along. Kyrie, he didn't like his personality. He doesn't like his style. He doesn't like the way he handles himself. And there was once a comment where LeBron dubbed himself a father figure to the players on the Cavs, and a reporter asked Kyrie about it, and Kyrie was very taken back, like, "No, I have I got a dad." It started there. Like, you're not my father figure, bro. You're not. But that was LeBron's, I guess. If you don't like him, you'll say his narcissism. If you love him, and say, "Oh, that's a great teammate." So it depends on what side you sit on. But he wanted his own. He wanted his own team. If they make that trade, though, I'm not sure that they're much. I'm not sure that they're in the finals. I don't know, because I'm not. The jury for me is still out on Giannis. I don't love Giannis as much as everybody else does. You have to add to your game. Still can't hit free throws. Still an average 3-point shooter. And last night, Harden goes down, bro. This is your day. You know what? Give me the ball. The fuck out the way. Let me go get 45, i.e. Kawhi Leonard the other night, i.e. Devin Booker 3 nights ago. Get out of the way, get on my shoulders, and let's go get this. Oh, what? Harden's out? Oh, let's go. Durant only had 29. Kyrie only had 23. They didn't go off. You let Blake Griffin get 18 and 14, bro. You're supposed to shut that. That's frosted fake Blake Griffin right there we're talking about. You're going to let him go get 18 and 14 on you when Harden is probably going to be done because they left the stadium for an MRI. Normally when that happens, they think there's a tear. They want to go get an MRI now. They think it's a tear. They probably won't say nothing the next few days. But I still don't know if that team wins the championship or gets to the finals, because Giannis, to me, is just he's a really good player. I don't call him great. He's a really, really, really good player. I just don't know if he's a great. Kyrie's a great player, but that would have been Giannis's team. And like I said, ironically, now that he's in, but he had his own team in Boston, and that's what he wanted. And then he figured, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna just go to Brooklyn. Hey, Durant, you want to come with me? Yeah, all right, bad. Let's just do. Oh, damn, Harden wants out. All right, fine, come on. Oh, LaMarcus. Oh, Blake. Yeah, all right, everybody. We can't play no defense, but shit, we'll just score 130 every night and just go from there. So I don't think they win a championship. I don't think they get to a finals because Giannis, to me, is just still a really, really good player. And Kyrie would have had to shoulder all of that. And I don't think it'd have been too much. Plus, the Cavs were still there. Let's not act like the Cavs weren't.
Yes, I know.
And LeBron was. Yeah, let's not act like the Cavs.
It would have been LeBron, Middleton, and Brogdon.
Yeah. So
All right, we're gonna go up with in our hour. Go ahead. You go ahead and answer. I see you jumping in. You looking at the chops to get in here.
Yeah. So if this trade would have happened back in 2017, I think, in my opinion, LeBron would have stayed in Cleveland because you would have you could have had Chris Middleton, Brogdon, and and obviously they can have fill in other pieces. But I think if this would have happened, I think LeBron would have stayed, and it would have been crazy. But it shows how the NBA is crazy sometimes with all these trades. Like, for example, like the Chris Paul thing to the Lakers when David Stern vetoed that one. That would have been a history changer in my opinion. So I think LeBron, in my opinion, LeBron would have stayed in Cleveland if he would have had Chris Middleton and Brogdon together. That's my opinion.
That's a great take.
Jeremy, do me a favor. Look up Giannis's stats in 2017.
Yeah,
Devin, go ahead and get in.
I'll go ahead and say, if we're talking about why Tristan Thompson's getting slandered, why are we slandering Giannis? Like,
I didn't slander Giannis.
MVPs. We're not gonna act like Giannis isn't, one of the greatest players in the league and will be a future Hall of Famer. You put Kyrie on that team. The Bucks definitely are now the Eastern Conference favorites. Not that they win it all, but they're the favorites. And then looking at, I think, at least over the Cavs, because Chris Middleton hadn't exploded into the Chris Middleton he is today. He still had two more years to become the star player he is now. I think Chris Middleton now is going to be a star. He's going to be definitely an all-star for the next few years. Scoring monster, he can put the ball in wherever he needs to. And he does it every time he needs to. He's an extremely clutch player, Chris Middleton right there. We're not going to discount. If you shaking your head, we're not going to discount it. Act like he hasn't hit the big shots when he needs to. So I think that Chris Middleton LeBron team is a better Cavaliers team, and a Bucks Kyrie Giannis is a better team, and I think that Boston does a better trade. So had that happened, I think the whole league is a better place. At least the entire Eastern Conference is much more competitive had that went down. While I do appreciate what Kyrie did for the Celtics, like we didn't get anything out of it. LeBron still did LeBron things. So at the end of the day, nothing changed. Had that happened, I feel like Bucks give Cavaliers a run for the money.
Devin, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
23 this year.
Okay, so you might not remember a guy by the name. I know your pops does. You might not remember a guy by the name of Michael Redd.
I do know who Michael Redd is. Man.
Yes, and guess what though? He was the number 2 to who? Big dog Glenn Robinson, right? Mm-hmm. This Milwaukee team looks the same, gentlemen. This is Big Dog and Michael Redd part 2. Michael Redd was just always going to be a good player. He wasn't never going to be great. Chris Middleton, where was he last night then? Once again, you're watching one of their stars limp off within the first 48 seconds, and you don't have it in you to say, you know what? You go get 45, I'm going to go get 33, and we're going to steal game 1. They don't play defense. What was it, 2-1 in the paint last night? Was something ridiculous at half? It was like 42 points in the paint. They just kept attacking. But Middleton wants to shoot jumpers, wants to shoot threes, wants to shoot step back. And once again, Pistons fan, we drafted him. I saw him up close and personal. He's a good player, and that's all he's ever gonna. Watch how this series play. He'll have one explosive game, guaranteed. The rest of them, they'll be right in here. And that's because it's just who he is. We can't make player. One thing I try not to do with sports talk, and I've learned over my years of doing it professionally, I try not to make players who I want them to be. You got to see guys for who they are. You know, Laker fans, they want Kuzma to be Ariza. They want him to be Clarkson. Guess what, though? You had Jordan Clarkson. You had the 6th man of the year, and you didn't want him. So you always think you could get another guy replaced. I look at guys, and I'm like, yeah, he reminds me of Michael Redd. Could score, could put some points on the board. But, I mean, are you going to win with that guy? Are you going to get to even the conference finals with that guy? They ain't even been to a conference finals. And we're talking, and I'm not slandering Giannis. Giannis is a really, 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 really good player. I just don't think he's great. And he's superstar by sponsorship and media. He ain't superstar by accomplishments in the NBA. So we can, an MVP, I mean, do we really trust the MVP? Shaq has 1. Kobe has 1. Like, Nash has 2.
Giannis has 2.
Yeah, Giannis got 2, but Westbrook's got it 1. Harden's got it. I mean, MVP can really bounce around, guys.
Yeah, but it only bounces around between superstars, it sounds like.
That's a good point.
I didn't hear Michael Redd in there, you know. So I mean, but let me say this about that. So the Bucks, I do feel like they still need to prove themselves in a deep run into the playoffs. I feel like they still somehow, after all these years of being the same team and really only adding Drew Holiday, they don't have the depth in the playoffs to prove that they have the mentality, I guess. So with Drew Holiday, I feel like that's the biggest opportunity for them, I guess.
That's what we said about Eric Bledsoe.
What was that?
That's what we said about Eric Bledsoe a couple years ago.
Exactly. So that's
when Eric Bledsoe got traded there, everybody acted like it was shit. And I like,
when they got Bledsoe, everybody, oh God, this is
that $54 million contract, which they had to let Brogdon go.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, this is the piece.
It's happened before.
Teams that always have to get the piece, guys, just go. Listen, just look at the history of champions in the NBA. Did the Warriors ever need the piece? Did the Heat ever need with the Heatles and LeBron?
I mean, they didn't need the piece.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't because they had already won one. No, they did not. They did already won one. Durant,
they didn't need it. Durant would have done it anyways.
Listen, I like Durant, but him and LeBron have fucked the league up, guys. It's as simple as that. Him and LeBron have crushed this league because now everybody's going to do this. I hope it gets back to some type of, spread out across the league, and the real true best players will continue to win. I get that, but we like I said, we always want these players to just kind of be what they're not, and these teams to be like, for instance, let's say they lose to the Nets. It's a second round exit, dude. So what are we gonna say this offseason for the Bucks if they don't get past the Nets?
That the Nets were so much better and they couldn't stop
with no Harden, with a hurt Harden, and they lose to the Nets. What are we gonna say this summer now? Oh God, the Bucks need. Well, you got Portis, and now you have
PJ Tucker.
And now you have Tucker. You got Tucker, who's gonna stay in foul trouble this entire season. I'm watching the game last night. Center. Dude, you can't play physical with Durant. They're gonna call fouls. Yeah. You can't play all the hand stuff he's doing and I'm watching the game and I'm just like, he's gonna stay in foul trouble this whole. Durant's gonna average 30 on him. Because you think slapping and doing all this stuff is gonna get in Durant. It's not, dude. He's gonna cook you for 30 a night is what's gonna happen. And you're gonna be on the bench. You're only gonna play 28 minutes a night. So what are we gonna say if they lose now? We're gonna go, they need another piece.
So let me jump up in here on this Kyrie trade. Jeremy, what was Giannis' stats in 2017?
What do you want to know?
His points per game, his assists, his rebounds.
By the way, Jeremy, dig the room, bro. I'm not a Raider fan. My wife is a diehard Raider fan from LA, but I love your decor.
We used to actually film the podcast in there, and since I'm a diehard Chiefs fan,
you're former Army?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So am I, man. 14 Romeo. My father was a 11 Bravo Airborne Ranger, and my mother was a colonel in the Pentagon. Worked with equal opportunity and worked with Colin Powell in the Pentagon.
Oh, nice.
Thank you very much. That is awesome. Shit.
Y'all from a hardcore Army family. My father was an MP and an Airborne Ranger.
I got Colin Powell's coin.
Okay, yeah. My mother's got a picture with him.
Yeah.
So my thing,
his points average per game was 26.9.
In 2017?
Yeah.
Okay. So my thing with the trade for Giannis was, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that also the same? Like they traded to the Kyrie to the Celtics, and then the Celtics beat Giannis in the first round. If I'm not mistaken, yeah. So Giannis was a man child, but it still wasn't him. It's not who we think of now. He was still growing into that role. I think if you trade Kyrie Irving to Giannis, and again, they've been searching for that point guard since they basically let Malcolm Brogdon go. They've kind of been searching for that dog, that extra playmaker, that take it over in the clutch time when Giannis doesn't get his stuff, that can get his score, which you say Chris Middleton is that guy, but he's not. Okay, he has his games and his moments, but if the game is on the line and they need him to break down and get 10 points, is he doing it? No. If they had Giannis double team, Kyrie would be that guy. I think Kyrie and Giannis together would have been fabulous. I still think Kyrie probably would have left because sooner or later he would have wanted his own team. But I think for 2 to 3 years, the 2 years that they played together, I think it would have been fabulous basketball to watch, and it would have been so entertaining. Nobody wants to play in Milwaukee, so sooner or later he would have left. But I think it would have been fabulous and entertaining. And now we're really talking about Giannis probably doesn't win back-to-back MVPs because of the fact that they still have Kyrie. Maybe they go further in the playoffs just because of the fact that it is a more competitive team. Because you had a young Sixers, you had the young Bucks, you had the injured Celtics, you had the kind of like the Pacers every so often, not really.
I was about to say, don't forget Indiana in 2017.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, and then you had Toronto, and then you had the Cavs. So you now have 6 again, the Cavs getting Malcolm Brogdon and Chris Middleton, I think, changes completely the facet of in the NBA because they were going to make the finals regardless with LeBron. He was taking motherfuckers to the finals that didn't belong in the finals. So they were going to make the finals regardless. But now you actually give him people that can play. And not saying that George Hill and them can't play, but it's not. I think Chris Middleton is better than George Hill. I think Chris Middleton is better than anybody they had on that team at the time. Rodney Hood was really good, but he wasn't playing the way he should have been playing. So IT didn't even do nothing for him. Like they had to Jay Crowder got traded at the end of halfway through the season. So I mean, like I think they screwed up that trade so bad with the Celtics because Dan Gilbert loved IT. I think this is a totally different team. I don't know if LeBron stays because I think LeBron just wanted to win them a ring. That's all I think that happened. He's waiting for the Lakers to get good. He always wanted to play in LA or the Knicks. He wanted to further his media brand. So I think regardless, he was gone for the Cavs once they won a ring. I just think maybe it happens a little earlier if they win than beforehand.
If they trade Kyrie in 2017, the Cavs don't beat the Warriors, just so you guys know that.
Yeah,
let's make sure we make that very clear. You trade Kyrie.
No. That was after. Remember, Kyrie had already won the ring before. We're talking about the trade after they won the ring 2 years later.
I know, but you're talking about if the possible trade in 2017. They won the ring in 2000 and what? When they were in the ring? 18 or 16? Oh, was it 16? Okay, you're right.
Kyrie got traded after they won the ring.
You're right.
So we're talking about they already won the ring.
That's been 5 years already.
Yeah.
It's
been a while. Because they might have won it in 15. Yeah, they might have won it in 15. Yeah, because remember, and then they got Kevin Durant and they lost with Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Then he got traded, and then they lost 2 more times while LeBron was in Cleveland, or that last time while LeBron was in Cleveland.
No. They didn't lose with Kevin Durant. They lost. Well, they did, but they lost to Toronto because Kevin and Clay got hurt. The first 2 years with Kevin and Golden State.
That's what they said. They won the 2. So they won the 2 over Cleveland. One with Kyrie, one without Kyrie.
You're right. You're right. And then last year was the Bucks. So last year would have been year 4. Wow, that has
it seems so again, like this. So that's what I'm saying. Like that year he drugged them. I'm not saying they beat the Warriors in the finals, but that would have been a much better NBA finals matchup that year with Chris Middleton, Malcolm Brogdon against the Warriors. The Warriors still dominate them.
They beat him in 5. They beat him and Kyrie in 5. You think Brogdon? And then they swept them the year after that. You think Brogdon?
All I'm saying is they don't get swept. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is they don't get swept.
Okay. They lost in 5. They lost in 5 the first year with
Kyrie, and then they got swept.
26 threes in game 4.
Yeah. And then they got swept when LeBron had that 50-point game in the J.R. Smith.
They got swept. Yeah, and J.R. Smith.
But like, let's be honest. Like, in that series, I'm not saying that they win the series.
Actually, no, hold on. In fact, they don't have J.R. Smith.
It's more competitive with Chris Middleton and Malcolm Brogdon starting than George Hill, J.R., whoever I don't even remember some of those guys that was on that. You remember they were saying that was the worst team since 2007 that LeBron dragged to the finals? That team was so horrible. He went off for 50 points.
They shouldn't have been there. Devin Celtics should have beat them.
Yeah, they shouldn't have.
They shouldn't have been there.
It was hard.
I don't think it changes the NBA. I just think it makes that season more competitive. And I think it changes the Cleveland Cavalier roster going forward because they still had Kevin Love at that time. So maybe they don't sign Kevin Love to that $100 million contract as soon as he leaves. But I think it helps Giannis a lot more. I think that I'm not saying it makes them a final contender or they win the finals because nobody was beating the Warriors at that time. No, but it helps him a lot more. He has a guy that's been there that can lead the championship that he respects as a player, that he's not expected to do everything. I think it helps him elevate his game to where we think he should be. I completely agree with the fact that we cannot make players who we think they should be because Giannis is not who we think he is. He's who he is. That is who he is. Ben Simmons is who he is. That is who Russell Westbrook is. Who he is.
I want so much more from Ben Simmons, dude. I do.
He is.
He is
right now. Someone really needs to lock him in the gym and
we playing soon.
Confidence to shoot.
There is no Philadelphia talk right now. I don't want to think anything.
Can run, can jump. I mean, can pass, can defend.
He's
probably be defensive player of the year. Ben Simmons can do everything, but the most important thing in the game is put the ball in the damn basket.
See, here's who he is. That's like one of the easiest things to fix, I feel like. It's something he should have learned.
But this is the issue. Why? He's an all-NBA player. He's an all-defensive player.
We're going to find out why when
he averages through this series. He can average a triple-double. He's never going to be a shooter. Never. He'll never.
And that's why unless he plays with a Batman and Superman, he'll never win the championship. If he ever has to be Batman or Superman, you can never be Batman or Superman and not score the basketball.
I agree with you.
That's not happening.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing.
He's going to be Bosh later on another team, or he's going to end up being Ray Allen on another team late in his career. If he's got to be the guy, and Devin was just saying it, man, great point. We're going to find out because this meniscus thing with Embiid is dangerous, guys. This is borderline. Right. His career is on the line in the next year or two. But if he keeps having knee injuries, we're never going to get the Embiid that we really wanted when he was coming out of Rock Chalk Jayhawk. We're never going to get that guy. And Ben Simmons, we're gonna find out. Keeping Trae Young in front of you, homeboy. We're gonna find out a lot about Ben Simmons. But to agree with you, he's one of the guys I want so much more from. But my hands are up. I'm like, dude, he is who he is.
And that I know it's a cop out, but it's also a cop out for us to tell these players that no, you got to do this, and this when they've made it to the best league in the world doing what they fucking did. Like, yes, we want him to be a shooter. He will never be one. It is the organization's job to surround him and put him in the position for him to be a champion. It's yes.
I disagree slightly because let's take our industry for example, right? We do podcasting, sports talk radio, blah, blah, blah. You get a job at Fox. Now they need you to learn how to read sponsorships. They need you to learn how to transition. They need you to learn how to do teases. We can't just go, God, man, he hate me. He's just VJ. These guys are just so great, man. But we'll bring somebody in to read the sponsors. Fuck no. Give him the shit and figure. So I agree with you saying it's the franchise's job. I'm going to change the rest of that sentence. Not to surround him. It's the franchise's job to get him a damn. You pay the best shooting coach. You find somebody.
I'm with you.
Get him in.
I'm with you.
Devin learns how to read on time, and that VJ learns how to do a tease. We're going to break right now. Coming back, I'm going to tell you who I think is the such and such and such and such. All that is coming up more. You have to learn how to do that on a different level. And the NBA is the professional level. The NFL, it's like, he's a great blocking receiver, but God, got great hands and speed just to run good routes. So let's surround him with other receivers that run good routes. No, get a route running coach in here and teach his ass how to run routes.
That's a great point. That is a very.
So I would just. That's why Ben's problem. Markelle Fultz, we saw it. The dude could fly. Markelle Fultz played at DeMatha High School.
Don't bring up Fultz.
Well, He played dog. I saw him in high school. He played at the famed DeMatha High School. He didn't have a problem shooting the ball at Washington. He got to the league with some front offensive shooting coach tried to change his shot, and it killed his career.
I have no problem with Markelle Fultz. I think Markelle Fultz got screwed completely by Philadelphia. When we traded him, I was like, wait, let me get this straight. You traded a draft pick, 2 draft picks up to get the number 1 pick, to keep him, not let him play for a season, and trade him midway through the second season for fucking Jonathan Simmons. I was so mad. But listen, I have nothing against Markelle Fultz. I think he got screwed in Philly. And I'm going to tell you why he got screwed in Philly since we're talking about this shit. We should have fucking picked him. We should have taken De'Aaron Fox. If we had De'Aaron Fox, I've been saying that from the get. Devin, back me up. From the get-go, we should have never traded up for the number 1 pick. We should have stayed our ass in our lane, taken
Played
De'Aaron
it.
Fox, had De'Aaron Fox, Ben Simmons
They
playing the
got
small
played,
forward,
is what happened.
not a point forward. Give him at the small forward where he cuts in and plays a defensive player, a 2-and-D wing, and Embiid at the thing, and we would have been fucking set. All these issues would have been solved. But Brett Brown, and Markel, I don't even care about all that. We should not be in this situation we're in when we're talking about Ben Simmons shooting.
Let's
He should be
go,
kicking the ball
Brett
to the De'Aaron
Brown.
Fox.
Let's go. I agree with you. I don't agree with the De'Aaron Fox. I just think that them moving
Well, you
up,
can take ball.
they got suckered by Boston. They got suckered by Boston by moving up. And let's not act like the number one overall pick in sports, guys, is not coveted. Everybody wants it because you have the choice of every player on the board, and you can get the exact guy you want. I never feel sorry for franchises, in my opinion, that fuck up picks 1 through 3 in any sport. You're getting I never feel bad for any franchise. If you fuck up picks 1 through 3, you're getting the best. You're getting the shot at the best 3 guys in the draft. You're getting the shot at the best 3 guys in the draft, man. If you screw that up, that's on you because you don't get Zion. Memphis gets Morant. We just had that topic earlier. You didn't get Zion True, but you got Morant. There's Utah ended up with Spider Mitchell. You know how many teams passed on Spider Mitchell? They could have had him. People say, "Oh, Luka Doncic." If you think about it, remember, Dallas actually drafted Trae Young, and Atlanta drafted Luka, and they just did a switch. But there were teams in that draft that had the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and
Marvin
the 2.
Bagley at 2. So,
I'm a Tar Heel, so I'm a shit on Duke players all day long. I try to tell people,
Since he bring that up, we're just going into the next topic. The next topic, since he started that, we're going to go into it. Who is to blame when a top 5 pick does not reach its potential? We're going to start with our up top first. Then we'll go with Devin. Then we'll go with the Big Vanilla, VJ, and then we'll go with me. Go ahead.
Man, this is a tough question. I mean, you can blame everyone, but I think to me, I think it comes down to the people who are evaluating the players. I think it comes down to the scouts or in the front office too, and even the players themselves and how they develop and all. So I think, in my opinion, I think the front office though, I think gets to blame if the players don't pan out.
Okay, I would say it comes down to it's a mix of things. There's a whole bunch of people to blame, but it obviously depends on the organization. If you're in a situation like Philadelphia, where you draft point guard, I mean, you can't really say like, oh well, this top 5 pick didn't play out. Well, he's not a good fit in that system. So there's cases like that, but there's also cases where a player comes in maybe with the head on their shoulders and they don't perform the way they should. Like I think that's kind of what Lonzo Ball went through his first few years in the season, first few years in the league, where he came in as his dad obviously elevated that for him, but he almost had to live up to more than just being the number 2 pick, and he had to adapt to his role almost. I think it just comes down to the organization. Either sometimes they're a bad fit, or sometimes they just don't get the support they need.
All right, so I know, you guys took some soft routes. So I guess I got to be the hard ass and the hardcore one on this one, and be the old school, get off my lawn, sit in the barbershop for 2 hours after I get my cut to talk shit, old guy type sports talk right now. It's the player. It's the player. I don't want to hear this shit about the front office. I don't want to hear this about the support and all that. Do you want it or not? What was all the dribbling in the driveway for? What was all the late night push-ups and sit-ups for? What was all the extra weightlifting in the summer? Do you want this or not? You dream that you want this, and then we get here, we give it to you, it's handed to you, and then you want to blame every damn body else around you of why you're not successful. That's bull to me. And we give that line to players. You could maybe say the recent one, Kwame Brown, has come out now with all this shit going back and forth between him, Steven Jackson, and Stephen A. Smith, and him on YouTube calling people out. And you start to hear some of the stories, and it's like, okay, That might have been a jacked up situation to be in if Jordan is having Charles Oakley come to the practice with you guys and foul you hard on purpose and pretty much beat you up, which is along the lines of bullying. I don't do bullying. I don't like bullying at all. I don't like bullies. I don't like anybody that tries to take advantage of somebody you know you have a physical or a mental advantage over. That's sucker shit in my book. Male, female, woman, child, black, white, employee, don't matter. If you do that type of shit, so that one. But I mean, you can go around the league and look at, you can look at some of these other number one picks in history, and it's like, bro, that's on you. Injuries aside, yeah, but you gotta want it. You gotta take the extra shots. You gotta run the extra 40s. You gotta do the extra drill with the pitching machine, extra batting practice, whatever it takes to be successful is on you. And we have to stop giving these athletes an out. You wouldn't tell your child to blame other people. You wouldn't tell your brother to blame other people or your sister. You would look, I'm a dad. I'm looking my own child in the face and say, you can blame me and your mother all the hell you want. You're 23. The decisions you make and how bad you want your life, it's really on you. It's not on me. It's not on your mother. That's what we need to start doing. These athletes ain't on no head coach and no GM, dude. Let's not Kobe, and I know Kobe is a unicorn, but let's remember, Dale Harris didn't even want to play Kobe. Kobe kept going to UCLA night after night after night after night. I live in LA. You hear these stories 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, shooting jump when most of these guys will be on social media bitching about not getting playing time. There's just a different vibe, man. There's just a different vibe with athletes today. And with the 2 weeks ago Hall of Fame, Duncan, Garnett, Kobe,
I watched your video.
I did a show and I titled it Last of the Legends. There's no more legends left, bro. That's real. LeBron's great. I'm not a LeBron guy. I don't like the guy at all. Everybody knows that. I don't hide from it. I don't run from it. I don't think he's a legend. Like, legends change shit. They show you a different way to do it. And from the grit in the ground, Jeremy from the Army, man, you know what it is, right, Hood? Up at 4 a.m., baby. Running, push-ups in the door. Ain't no excuses. We give these athletes way too many. And then when you don't, oh, you're a hater. Nah, bro. I'm just cut a different way. I'm cut from a different mold. Y'all can make excuses all you want. Go out, put the ball in the basket, see pitch, hit pitch, see ball, catch ball. It's the simplest shit. But we'll blame GMs and owners. Even Kwame Brown, and because I lived in VA when he was with the Wizards. Dog, if you go back to his high school tape, he was 6'11" and 255 and 260 and had a post game and had a little and was running up and you looked at him and went, yeah. Who else was you going to take? Paul Gasol? Look at that draft. Go back and look at that draft. Who was you going to take? Richard Jefferson, #1 overall? Go back and look at the draft. I mean, we blame these other people, and when it comes down to it, there's plenty of examples. Ain't nobody have to do shit for Mike. Magic, Bird, Tiger, Serena, Nadal. Do I have to keep naming Montana? Do I have to keep naming the greats? They don't blame anybody. They just do the shit. And I think we need to get back to that. So I had this poll question too on my Twitter feed. It's the player, man.
I mean, we went at it on it. That's why I put this in. So
yeah, look,
I'm 100% on board with some of the things that you said. Right? I do not believe this. Everybody gets a ribbon. Everybody gets a trophy mentality. Jeremy, me and you have talked about this multiple times. I was born in 82. So I literally grew up where you had to prove you were the best. I grew up watching Jordan prove he was the best. There was no, because you finished, you get a ribbon. No, you got first, second, and third. That's how stuff worked. But at the same time, in my opinion, you have a case against like Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins was a top 5 pick. Yeah, I believe in Andrew Wiggins' point. Yeah, I know, but he was number. Yeah, I know. But I believe in Andrew Wiggins' point. He did basically been way more than what he was. I don't want to get into stuff that he got traded from the Cavs and he just wanted somebody that wanted him because there was multiple times that had that. But I do believe that there are times that the media or the franchise really screws a lot of these people. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. We're not even going to talk about Kwame Brown. We're going to talk about JaVale McGee. Shaqtin' a Fool had Steve Kerr believe JaVale McGee was trash. Steve Kerr even came out and said it. He's like, it changed my whole mindset. Not us, because we're podcasters, but we do have some responsibility. The media can put a narrative on somebody that is really, really horrible, and it is almost impossible to fight. We've seen how cancel culture tried to cancel everybody over the summer. You can see when you can put in a narrative, sometimes it is very hard to fight. Now, yes, at certain times we have your players that are injured. Okay, Greg Oden, Sam Bowie, certain players like that. You have your players that could have lived up to their potential that haven't. Andrew Wiggins that should have played harder. But then you got your players like Anthony Bennett that have no reason being the number one overdraft pick. Andre Bargnani. You have players that we forget are still young. Like at 19 years old, you're coming in the draft. Yes, they should have the dedication and the heart to be the best at their craft, just like the greatest people you've named. And that's why we call them the greatest. And that's why we hold them at such high esteem. But let's talk about what we were doing at 19 years old as a regular person in a regular job. We didn't always put forth their best effort. A lot of them think they've made it and have come from different positions. And the franchises a lot of times fail them. Dale Harris doesn't want to play Kobe Bryant. Yes, Kobe Bryant literally goes and works out. But how many people have the dedication as Kobe in the NBA? Maybe
very true. That's the point I'm making is we didn't make excuses though. We didn't make excuses for Kobe.
Because we didn't need an excuse for Kobe. Because he went out and did what he was supposed to do. But he's one of the greatest players of all time with a work ethic and a mentality that we gave a nickname to. The dude gave his own nickname. He came up with his own nickname twice, and everybody respects that. Mamba mentality is something that will forever live. Not everybody has that. We cannot compare everybody to Michael Jordan that we think should be great because they're number one overall draft pick or number two overall draft pick. We can't do that because not everybody's going to exceed that level and not be put in that position. Yeah, Jordan had the worth ethic. Now, what if somebody like Allen Iverson got put in Jordan's position at the time where he didn't have the same worth ethic that Jordan had and they wanted to sit him out when he got injured? He may not have succeeded. There has to be the right people in the right situation. And a lot of times I think franchises just go based off of talent and hype and don't think of fit in organization. And I think that ruins a lot of players. I'm not saying that places all the blame on them. I think franchise, media, player, and injuries have to do with all of them. But in a majority of situations, we've heard about Kwame Brown. How many times do you think that's happened? How many old coaches?
And I get all of that, but I still think that with all the variables you added in there, it still comes down to what the player does. There's a lot of players that weren't in the ideal situations. My mom always used to tell me, man, that life is about 10% of what happens and 90% of how you react to it. I've been put in bad situations all my life. I've been put in bad relationships, bad job. It's how you react to it, because I know at the end of the day, when I lay down and I wake up, and if God graces me to wake up the next day, I know when I look in the mirror, everything that happens to me today is because of me. Everything that I do, bad or good, is going to be because of the decisions, my work ethic. Am I gonna do a show today? Am I gonna do some notes today? Am I gonna work on my schoolwork and finish my degree? Everything that I'm doing today lands on me. I just put that on the athlete also, because we can always say, and listen, there are people who didn't go number one overall that had Jordan's work ethic. They may not have had Jordan's talent, but you look at a guy like PJ Tucker, who we just mentioned, who works his ass off. And he doesn't, we don't blame. He ain't worried about blaming. He was, matter of fact, my nephew Kendall Marshall, he was Kendall's veteran when Kendall got drafted by the Suns. So we got a chance to kind of talk to him and get to know him a little bit. And it's no excuses. Like, this is like,
but he wasn't expecting.
I'm going to be better than the number 5 overall pick. But the number 5 overall pick is actually a better basketball player. He's waiting for the excuses because we're in the excuse train society now.
But PJ Tucker was never expected to be great. PJ Tucker did not have expectations coming out of college as a second-round pick, as a first-round pick did.
You think every first-round pick has expectations to be great?
No, not the same expectations as a number 1 pick.
No,
he didn't have
you just mentioned Bennett. Hold on, you just mentioned Bennett, though. You just mentioned Bennett. When Bennett got drafted, nobody thought he was going to be great. When Michael Olowokandi went number 1 overall, nobody thought he was going to be great.
That's true. You're right.
Well, just because you're drafted number 1 doesn't necessarily mean we think you're going to be like. We look at Zion and go, okay, next LeBron. Andro Bagliardi, it was kind of what the draft was. It's like, okay. Well, nobody thought Kwame Brown, and I hate to keep banging on my guy because I actually like him, but nobody thought he was going to be great. They just said, okay, Jordan's got this guy now. It was more like, what's going to happen? I don't think people were like, oh, man, Kwame Brown. Yeah, I think we do that more in football, unless it's the left tackle. When we draft a quarterback overall, number one, you're expecting him to take it to conference championship games. Like he's got to win. If you're drafted number one in the NBA, it's almost like, okay, who else is in this draft first before we put the expectations? Yeah, I think there's been number one overall picks before that we just looked at and thought, all right. I mean, the AI draft 95. Camby went 2, right? Nobody thought Camby. What do we think? Shot blocker, rebounder.
Well, what Kenyon Martin go? Didn't Kenyon Martin go 1? Kenyon Martin
went 1 overall. Yeah. But Kenyon Martin also took his team to 2 finals.
With Jason Kidd.
Yeah, well, what? But
that's not like Jason Kidd was not.
Kidd went 3, 2 or 3, right?
And they had Richard Jefferson. They had 3 top 5 picks on their team.
Richard Jefferson. First of all.
Okay.
Richard Jefferson should have never been. And I think, and hold on, I want to call you on this. I want to say 7 or 8. He went top 5. I want to say 7.
Jeremy, look up Richard Jefferson's draft position.
7. I'll say between 7 and 9. I don't think number 5. Yeah, between 7 and 9. So now you have guests telling you that you're wrong. Anyway,
I'm wrong a lot.
Yeah, no, I know. We all are. We talk so fast and so much. I just think that when we talk about drafting,
it's 13.
13.
Yeah, okay. When we talk about drafting, I just think that we get so caught up. Once again, media does this. Oh, number 1 overall. Okay, but who else is in the draft? What are we expecting this guy to be for the team? Like the guy the kid from Georgia went number 1. We're not expecting. Are we really expecting him to turn? Are we expecting him to turn around the Timberwolves?
No. Well, no.
So if you're not paying out, if you're not paying out, would you call him a bust?
No.
Me neither. Because I didn't expect. Now, if Zion, and listen, and I've said this, I don't think Zion is great as everybody else thinks he is. I think he should have went number 1, but I'll give you guys a name, and you older cats, I know you remember this guy. He reminds me a lot of Clarence Weatherspoon.
Ooh.
You know, because he played for your Sixers. You guys drafted Clarence Weatherspoon. I want to say 93 or 94.
Yeah. No, You know what? I haven't even heard that comparison. I literally said he reminded me of like a new age Sean Kemp.
No, but not even close. Not even close.
Clarence Weatherspoon is such a
Clarence Weatherspoon, who had the same body, same build, and the reason why he gets hurt, and I said this when he was in college, everything Zion does is hard. He's got no fluidity and smoothness to his game. Everything is that's too much on your ligaments, young man. Once again, that's the franchise's job to say, okay, we need to get a strength and conditioning training guy in here to slow his movements down and make him more smoother, because every herky-jerky power jump, you're going to blow your knee, then you're going to blow your Achilles, and then you're going to be Larry Johnson with the Knicks. That's who he's going to turn into.
Jeremy.
And I think he's Clarence Weatherspoon. I know people want to make the LeBron comparison because we're always looking for the next LeBron or the next Kobe. I'm not a LeBron guy, but he's not LeBron. LeBron is a way far better player, even at that age, than Zion was. Even though Zion averaged more points, LeBron's a far better. LeBron averaged 30 like his 3rd year in the league, right? It was like his 3rd. It only took like 3 years to get to like 30 points a night, if I'm not mistaken. But once again, we expect him to be great because he does have the potential to be great and a franchise changer. I just don't think it works for him. But we have to just rethink how we look at NBA draft.
Jeremy, jump in on this real quick, because I know you don't follow the NBA, but you could still jump in and tell us your thought process on this as a bystander that really just watches football and hockey.
Real fast, before he does that, I'm just gonna hop off real fast and hop right back in.
All right, cool. I'll just bring you out. Let me know when you want to come back in. Just wave, okay?
Jeremy said, "Say what?"
No, you can go ahead and KB.
Go ahead, Jeremy. What do you think?
I mean, fuck, I don't know. Like, I mean, I have to agree with the Big Vanilla Sports King. I mean, I think it falls on the player. Like you're in the big leagues now. You got to put in the work to stay in the big leagues and make the moves you want to make.
Not only that, real quick, Jeremy, you like hockey. He just said that you are. I'm a big hockey guy. I know you don't meet a lot of black guys that like hockey, but I love hockey. Do you ever see this shit in hockey? These fucking excuses and these complaining ass play. Oh well, the franchise didn't. This did the franchise. There's nobody tougher in pro sports, guys, than a football player or a hockey player. I'm telling you. If you're not watching hockey, ladies and gentlemen, you're missing the boat.
Yeah,
I know America is the kind of country where we're not the best at something and we don't want to pay attention to it. But if you're not watching hockey, guys, don't call yourself a sport. You got men moving at 15 to 20 miles an hour on skates. And some of these dudes are 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", moving on skates, and you can throw somebody around and you can fight while trying to control this puck that's only this big. With this hockey, I mean, it's such a great game. And if you're not watching playoff hockey, you're really missing the boat because there's nothing better than overtime playoff hockey. Next goal wins. So it comes out of nowhere. And yeah, I'm sorry, I just wanted to throw my little hockey stuff in there with my fellow sergeant right there.
No, I mean, I agree with him. I think it falls on the player, but I think you also got to put some of the blame on the coach too, because if the coach ain't able to bring it out of you, how good is the coach?
They got to motivate you. They got to be able to train you. All right, so we touched on this earlier. Portland, what do they do? And is Dame being wasted? Devin, go ahead and start it off.
I think with Portland, I mean, yes, Dame is being wasted. He's literally, they're just becoming the Washington Wizards with John Wall, where they have this point guard who's great and everyone loves him and he loves it there, but he's not going to win anything. So either he stays there for, 10 years total, like John Wall, and then he gets moved for a better player, like the Russell Westbrook trade, or he just decides to jump early and hop onto a better team like the Bucks, Celtics, Lakers, plenty of teams that could, I mean, the Lakers probably have a lot of moving at him on, but plenty of teams that could add Dame Lillard and become contenders because he's not going to be able to do it in Portland, especially not the team he has now. So maybe if Kawhi goes to Portland, then Portland becomes a contender, but I don't see why Kawhi would even want to stay in the West at this point. He has had no fun. So I definitely see him leaving Portland rather than someone coming to Portland to help make them a better destination.
Go ahead, in our hour. Go ahead. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, man, Damian Lillard. It's time for him to move on. Like you guys, like he said, like Devin said, and obviously he wants Jason Kidd to be in Portland. But now we just got news on Twitter. I've been on my phone when you guys were talking, and Woj tweeted earlier that Jason Kidd has taken his name out of the Portland job. So
what?
He's
gone.
Yeah, he's out of the question. So Dame Lillard now it's going to be up to him whether he wants to stay or go. And I just found out. I found something on Instagram. Someone posted Damian Lillard was on Instagram Live yesterday, and he said he said LeBron, make the call. So maybe he's hinting at LA right now.
Old video. I'm gonna save you guys from that old video. Video was almost a year ago. He wanted to be in Space Jam and was telling LeBron, make the call to be in Space Jam. Okay. That's what social media will do. They'll post some shit to make people think it's, and then Laker fans went crazy yesterday. It's like, dude, that's tampering. He can't do that.
For Dame, but he needs to think seriously hard. If he wants to win a championship, he's not going to do it in Portland. He needs to go somewhere else, like Boston, LA. Even if you want to go West Coast, if you want to stay in the West, Dallas even to play with Luka, that'd be crazy. So I think it's time for a change for Damian Lillard, and also CJ McCollum needs to start thinking of moving too. So.
Go ahead, VJ.
I'll make my part real quick because I know I talk a lot. Terry Stotts gone. That's what needed to happen. This team's fine, guys. You have to play defense. They're second. I'll give you a few numbers, okay? They're second in the league in offensive efficiency. They're 29th in defense. Put two and two together, people. you're going to be in the middle of the road. You're going to be in the middle of the road because there's some nights you can score, and then the nights you can't even defend. My beloved 2004, 2005 Pistons, you know I love that team so damn much because they were beating people 81-79. Do you guys remember that Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers? The highest score in that game was 90 points. Because even on nights when you couldn't score, or 89 or something like that, even on nights you couldn't score, you can rely on your defense. In every single sport, it's defense, people. Baseball, defense, pitching. And hockey, who's in the net? Who's your netminder tonight? That's what's good. You can have Sid the Kid, but if you're giving up 4 goals a night, Sid's not gonna have. He's not gonna have 6 points a night and 5 points a night. He's gonna have some off nights. You're gonna lose those games. In boxing, it's not about throwing the punches. You got to play some defense. It's about defense in every football. Run the football, stop the run. Defense, 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 defense. And Portland doesn't play defense. You have to have a coach to come in that demands it from you, or at least demands that you give the effort. Terry Stotts didn't demand it, so the players aren't going to do it. That team is fine. Now, I don't think McCullough is a Batman. He's more like your Flash or your Aquaman. So you still got to find a Batman to Damian Lillard's Superman. You do not, and I repeat, you do not give up Dame Lillard talent because he thinks he's Dude, if they trade him, they'll set their franchise back a decade. He's that good. You got to figure out how, damn it, do what LeBron is doing. Go recruit, man. This is what you guys do in the NBA now. Find somebody. I think I like Nurkic, but he's a little soft to me. I think we want Nurkic to be Jokic, and he's just not. And he's just not going to be. But he's still solid enough there. But Dame is your Superman. You got to find a Batman. And you have to bring a coach in. That's why I think Jason Kidd, I'm sorry to hear he took his name out, because when he was coaching, the one thing his teams did do was play defense because he was a point guard that played defense. They missed out on a guy like Nate McMillan because he took that Atlanta job and turned that thing around. Where's Atlanta since he's been the coach there? 3rd in defense efficiency. Why? He was an all-defensive guard when he played for the Supersonics and the Pacers through his career. So I think this team is fine. This is an overreaction. We do this in sports and sports talk. When a team loses, oh, my God, what needs to happen? We got to break this thing up. We got Kansas City Chiefs lose the Super Bowl. Oh, my God, we got to find Mahomes more weapons. Really? You need more than Kelsey and Tariq Hill and you need more than all that. You got Pat Mahomes, you got the MVP, you got the best quarterback. You just lost the game. You're gonna get back again. You just got to figure out how to win the next time you get back. So I think this Portland team is fine. I really do. But you have to find a Batman. You got to find maybe a Kawhi. You got to find. You can't bring another guard in. The Dallas move for Lillard makes no sense. Luka's your point. You can't bring – where you going to slide Luka to the 2? Okay, so then what does that do to Hardaway Jr.? You put that on the bench? What if he don't like that? What if his dad don't like that? And then they start talking shit through the meeting. You don't want to do – if anything, Dallas needs to figure out what they're going to do with Porzingis. You want to do something with somebody, figure out what you're going to do with Porzingis and maybe change that. But for Portland, I think that team's fine. This is an overreaction. To answer the question, he's not being wasted. Everybody can't win, guys. There's one Larry O'Brien. There's one Lombardi. There's one World Series. There's one Daytona. There's one Lord Stanley. There's only one. Everybody can't win it. Yeah. So you can easily say, well, did the Capitals waste Ovechkin all those years? No. Ticket sales, merchandise sales, the value of the team goes up, and then they finally break through and get one because there's only one to get every year. And I just think that, he's going against – think about it, guys. 2 years ago, they're in the Western Conference Finals. But you ran into Golden State. You see what I'm saying? That's almost like, did Utah waste Malone and Stockton? No. But you did run into Jordan back-to-back years. They probably would have had a championship. Did the Knicks waste Patrick Ewing? No. You had to battle Jordan for like 5 or 6 straight years in prime. So they're not wasting them. I don't like that term because there's only one champion. And everybody can't play on the same damn team. I do think that they have to go out this summer and figure out how to find a bona fide coach before you find anybody on the roster that is going to demand they play defense, or at least demand that you give the effort night in and night out to defend. Because 29th in defense efficiency, never going to. The lowest championship team to ever have defense efficiency, I think below 25th, Anybody want to take a guess?
Golden State Warriors.
Nope. Oh, no. They play defense. They got Draymond. They play defense there.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Nope. This is gonna surprise you. I just found it out like 2 days ago. It's gonna surprise you though. The Los Angeles Lakers with Kobe and Shaq.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
26 in the league in defense efficiency in 02. And won the champ. But it's Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah.
It's Kobe and Shaq. Dame Lillard's not neither. So unless you're gonna fix defense, I don't care who you bring in, guys. You still have to defend. You still got to play defense.
I completely agree with you on that. Speaking of the Chiefs, you reminded me of fucking nightmares. But at the same time,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you prefer? It's okay if
Yeah.
you're a guy. Is that all right for a massage or no?
okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So depending the Chiefs, horrible defense. Exactly. Like, yes, that horrible defense. So great offense, horrible defense. So it didn't matter. So you're 100% right. I do believe that they needed a change in the coaching. I do believe they need to focus on defense. I do agree with you on Nurkic. I also do agree with you with CJ. I just don't know how they get a third star without trading Batman to their Superman without trading CJ or somebody, because they don't have the draft picks to trade for the Capitol because of where they're always at. They're in that dreaded. They're not good enough to get to the thing, but they're not bad enough to ever tank unless Dame Lillard gets hurt. So I'm not, and I won't say they're wasting him because he's making money. He puts on a show, and there is only one championship. But I think and he's not going anywhere. Let's just stop, okay? He's signed. I just pulled up his contract. So people are like, oh, yeah, he's not. His contract expires this year, but he already signed a contract. He's signed until he's 34 years old. Yep. So he signed for the next 4 seasons. He's not going anywhere. And he didn't even take a huge contract.
Yeah, like, not this year.
Yeah,
he's not going nowhere this year.
No, he's not getting. In the Portland is not going to trade. I don't think Dame wants to ever be traded. I think he's 100% right. He needs to go recruit. He needs to go get those people to come. Because he says he wants to be loyal. I don't think he's that guy that's going to jump around and try to get championships. He wants to bring a championship to Portland. And if he doesn't win a championship, then so be it. We've seen this over the history. Like, we've seen Tracy McGrady with the Magic. We've seen a lot of players that were really, really good, that Carmelo Anthony with the Knicks and the Nuggets, that could just not get over that hump. We're in an era when we look back in 10 to 15 to 20 years, we're literally going to give a lot of these players passes. This is going to be the era, in my opinion, with NBA championships are not going to matter as much as other years because LeBron went to 8 straight finals. Like, this is the first time that LeBron or Steph has not been in a finals since what, 2008, 9, 10? The Celtics-Lakers.
2012.
Last Celtics-Lakers championship.
10.
Yeah, so
that's 10. That's 2010.
Yeah,
no, 2012 was Lakers Magic, right?
Yeah. So we're all 28 was 29 was Lakers Magic, 28 was Lakers Celtics.
Well,
Lakers Celtics is like
2007, 2008.
Yeah, it's like 09. Oh yeah. I was about to say.
Yeah, and then 08, 09 is Magic.
Celtics won in like 07.
Yeah, it's 07. Oh yeah. So anyway. So Jeremy, you're supposed to be looking this up. You're supposed to be correcting us. So anyway, so that's the issue.
He has like 7 tabs open right now.
I don't think.
And let me just say this also too about today's league and today's superstar. Dame Lillard is a guy. Dame from East Oakland. If you know anything about East Oakland, some real cats come from East Oakland. Like Marshawn Lynch. You ever see Marshawn Lynch front or say some shit he ain't mean or say some media driven? So no, East Oakland is some real cats, man. Jason Kidd's from East Oakland. Steven Jack. Like there's some cats from East Oakland. It's just their breed. It's not like him to say, I want to be here. I want to win a championship here. I get the emotions of the tweet. How long do you stay loyal? Bro, you stay loyal till you die. Whatever you're loyal to in life, most drinkers don't go to AA. There's more alcoholics than recovering alcoholics. People, look at the numbers. There's more crackheads than recovering crackheads. You kind of stay loyal to whatever you're going to just do for the rest of your life. Most people. And his loyalty is real, man. He don't want to go nowhere. But I just think that there's somebody that's looking at this saying, you know what, if there's some way I can get there to play with him, we just don't know who it is. Like when LeBron created the Heatles. We didn't see Bosh coming. We knew he kind of wanted to play with Wade, but when it was like, hold on, wait, he's gonna go play with Wade? Oh shit, they got who? It's like, wow, there's somebody right now sitting in their living room, sitting in their big mansion, thinking, you know what? I kind of want to get out of my situation. I can go there and win with him. LeBron and AD are gonna be done. Clippers, if they lose it, they'll get broken up. We're really gonna have to just battle really like Dallas and Golden State. Spurs, no. Sacramento, no. Some of these other Western Conference, the Grizzlies, okay, they'll be a cute team, but man, I can go there and ball. I think that's something that can happen and that will happen. We just don't know the player, and I think you're so right, bro. We're gonna look back on this era, and we're gonna give a lot of these guys passes. And we're gonna go, well, I mean, LeBron and Durant created all the super teams, so who was gonna win? It's different from Jordan's era, where we go, nah, dog. Jordan just beat everybody. He didn't have to go join up with all these different guys. Like, think about it. If Durant wins the championship this year, it's a respectable championship.
Yeah,
but it's like your championships do come with Klay Thompson, Kyrie, Draymond, Steph Curry. Like your championships come with 4 probably other Hall of Famers. People say, well, Jordan had a Hall of Fame. To me, Scottie Pippen's not a Hall of Famer. And the only reason why Rodman was there, Rodman was on the back end of his career. Nobody wanted Rodman if people remember that. Yeah. Everybody, the league was done with Dennis Rodman, right?
San Antonio was done.
You guys saw The Last Dance. They talked about Jordan and Phil sat down and go, you think we can get this guy? You think we can? Jordan said, let me talk to him. Let me talk to him, and then I'll let you know. Yep. Nobody wanted him. So I think you're right, man. We'll give a lot of these guys passes. And
the only way they're wasting his talent is if it comes out that Dame has consistently gone to them and tried to show him that other people want to come, and they have they're like, no, we don't want to. That's the only way, in my opinion, anybody could say they'd be wasting him if he's actually actively recruiting. And they're not going after the people that he's actively recruiting. Yeah.
And we won't hear that until Dame's gone.
That's what I'm saying. But other than that, you're 100% right. There's only one championship. We're going. I mean, let's be Lakers in the early 2000s. The Pistons snuck in for that year. You had San Antonio most of the time from 2000 to 2015 that they were good, or 14. You had the Mavericks that snuck in that one year, and then you had the Celtics and the Lake, and then the LeBron and Steph takeover. Like the 2000s literally are almost as hard as the 80s and 90s as far as like the way the teams have kind of done it. You've had very good players on very good teams all throughout this generation. You had the Lakers, and so you were talking about it on the last Hall of Fame show you were doing with the Kevin Durant and them. You had the Lakers, you had the Celtics, you had the Pistons come in every so often. Then Jordan took over. Yeah, you had the Rockets for 2 years, but then Jordan took back over. Yep. This is the same thing that we're seeing. We saw in the 50s and 60s. We didn't see it in the 70s because that had the most variety, but we're going to give a lot of these guys a pass. And right now we're all in our feelings because we're in the moment and think that Dame should have won a championship. And we forget, if you're not playing with LeBron or Steph in the last 10 years, you didn't have a shot. Like, it's just
really quick on Dame too. Guys, he don't play defense either.
No, he don't.
So like I said, once again, I like him, but I got to just judge players just objectively. He don't D up neither. You can score 30 on him. So if he's gonna start, and which I don't think he will, but if he were to start the crying and bitching, I'd go, hold on, bro. You ain't giving your all either. You're not playing defense. So do more D, and then we can say, okay, now y'all wasting him because he's defending, he's scoring, he's assisting, he's rebounding, he's this, but he's not though. And that's what I would say we could chill a little bit on. Let's get him out here. Let's get him to a new. Where you gonna go? Where you gonna send Dame?
And you can't trade him. It's gonna take too much talent to trade him.
Yeah,
we've seen this happen too many times. Anybody else want to jump in on this topic before we go to the last topic?
Real quick. I mean, if he stays in Portland, he's not winning a championship. I'm telling you that right now because the Western Conference is loaded still, and you have teams like Utah, Clippers, Denver improving, Memphis improving, and you got other teams that are trying to come up too. So Portland is in trouble. But I mean, if I was Dame, man, I would just try and request a trade now this all season. try and help the Blazers get more value. And I think I'm a New York Knicks fan, so I'm hoping. Here's my hot take. So if somehow the Knicks get Kawhi Leonard this offseason, then the Knicks. I think the Knicks should trade for Damian Lillard.
This is why. Look, this is why Knicks fans are always fucking disappointed because all of New York meet there because you guys were not expected to do shit. Y'all were like, if we make the playoffs, great. Y'all made the playoffs and basically got gentlemen swept, only so Trae Young could finish you off in New York. So y'all made the playoffs and y'all got swept, and now y'all like, oh, if we get Kawhi and trade for. Man, that's why you're always disappointed. It's not James Dolan.
I can see Kawhi going to New York. That's not the craziest thing.
No. Why would you do that if you're New York? I know we're trying to move to the next second. Why would you do that for New York? You would have to give up. You'd have to give up.
It's Kawhi Leonard. What do you mean?
Toppin's got to go. Randall's got to go. If you're trading for Dame Lillard, you think Portland? What do you think Portland's going to ask for?
I think Lillard's a bit much. I think if they can just get Leonard in the offseason, I think that's more than reasonable.
Leonard.
Yeah, Kawhi can opt out, so he can go where he wants.
Yeah.
So any team right now that wants to post a Kawhi meme in your team jersey, have at it because it might happen because he's a free agent. But the Dame Lillard stuff, here's one team though, and I'll shut up. Miami Heat.
Oh.
Yes.
Miami Heat could trade.
That's why I think Kawhi's going too. Honestly.
Miami has the trade picks.
Destination.
Miami's got the draft picks to add. They're probably going to give up Hero or Duncan or maybe both.
Yeah. Well, Duncan's a free agent this season.
I would exactly. You're right. Duncan is a free agent this season, but I would. Well, they can do it in the sign and trade and still include him.
Of course.
But I would bank on that being a more liable trade place than all the other 28 teams. Of course, can't get traded back to Portland. But there are rumblings I'm hearing with Jimmy Butler there and the coaching staff.
Oh.
So I'm not even sure if that situation is there too. Yeah. I think Jimmy's gone in a year or two. I've defended Jimmy Butler all the way, man. But it does become a point where if everybody says the same shit about you, it might be true.
All right,
Should never let Philly.
Before we get to the last topic, did you guys see the score here with the Sixers?
No, I'm DVRing the game. I'm DVRing the game so I can do the show. Do not do that shit.
I'm not. Let me check.
No, don't say nothing because VJ's DVRing.
I know. I'm teasing.
Yeah, no, I'm DVRing the game.
But I literally got it right next to me. Have you not seen my face the whole time doing this? It's literally sitting right next to me.
Nah.
So we're going to get on the last topic. And I think this will take a little bit of time just because of how many people it's going to cover. Okay? Injuries are a huge part of every sport. But in the NBA, it seems like you can tell how great the talent would have been or how good they would have been if they didn't get injured. So who do you think would have had the best career if it wasn't for injury? So we have, right off the bat, we're going to go Derrick Rose. We got Derrick Rose. We got Yao Ming. We got Grant Hill. We got Brandon Roy. We got Penny Hardaway. And I added Tracy McGrady. And the reason why I added Tracy McGrady, even though Tracy McGrady had the back issues later on in his career, he still played with Grant Hill and Yao Ming. In both, they were supposed to. He was affected by his injuries and the injuries of two other superstars that were supposed to join him. So, who wants to start first on this?
I will, and I'll be quick because I know I talk a lot, and this is a long topic. So I'll just go down the list. It's not Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady had opportunities. I understand what you're saying about his teammates having injuries, but he still had opportunity. You're talking about a 7-time All-NBA guy. He had a year where he led the league in scoring. He had a scoring title. He had his opportunities. So, to me, it's not him. Yao Ming, same thing. Yao Ming's a 5-time All-NBA guy. Yao Ming's a 19-10 guy career. He had opportunities to make his career what it was going to be. You can go to Derrick Rose, Brandon Roy, Penny Hardaway. The guy the most to me is Derrick Rose because Derrick Rose got hurt in his third year, and it just snowballed down from there. He's the guy who's a former MVP None of these other guys had MVPs. None of these other guys, I believe, are either finalists. Maybe Grant Hill and Penny Hardaway. I would have to look that up, but that would have to have been between 92 and 96. It's not going to be anything past that. Penny Hardaway had his opportunities also. He played with Shaq. Penny got to a finals. And Penny at one point was dubbed the second or third best player in the game behind Michael Jordan and Grant Hill, or Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, depending upon how you judge basketball in the early to mid 90s. Grant Hill had his opportunities too. I know he had the ankle, but Grant Hill had the opportunity to still come back, still in prime years and in prime shape, and actually still be able to do something with his career. But then he just kind of became the role player and the role guy. So for me, it's Derrick Rose, because Derrick Rose, number 1 overall pick, we knew he was going to be great, high school champion. Shit, they don't miss the free throws for Memphis against Kansas, right? They win the national championship if they don't miss free throws. Super Mario Chalmers hits a 30-foot three to tie the game at the buzzer to force overtime, and the rest is history. Bill Self and Kansas go off and win a national championship, and Derrick Rose goes on to the league. But once again, man, you want to talk about a guy, he got in his third year. He's 18-6 guy, shoots 47% from his career. So Derrick Rose can score. He wasn't a bad shooter or anything like that. And the explosiveness, that's what we missed once he got hurt. Do people remember, some of these young bucks, I need to go back and YouTube Derrick Rose taking off 2 feet from the dotted line. Not off 1 feet, like off 2 feet from the dotted line, windmill dunking, reverse pump dunking for a 6'1" guard. We hadn't seen anything like that. And so I can't think of a 6'1" guard that had that type of explosiveness and dunked that hard. So for me, it's not even close. All these other gentlemen, they had their opportunity. And Brandon Roy, once again, it's kind of like a Michael Redd guy. Could score, could get you some points, but was never going to take his team deep into the playoffs, was never going to win a championship. Derrick Rose was fed to win some championships. Penny Hardaway had Shaq, so he was always plan B. Nobody thought Grant Hill was taking the Pistons to championships, and I don't think anybody ever saw T-Mac and Yao leading their franchises to championships. Just a bunch of great players. Derrick Rose is the answer for me here.
Let me hop in on this, because as much as I love Derrick Rose, growing up, Derrick Rose was sort of my, I guess, high flying. I was in middle school time when he was popping off. So I love Derrick Rose to death, but I stand by, he's even said it himself, that the injuries he sustained were probably some of the best things for his health, not his career, but for his health. He said multiple times that the injuries he got were because he played so explosive. He's much more in control now. He claims to be a much smarter player. He's even said that he is a better player now than his MVP season in his own eyes. So whether or not that translates to the core, whether or not it translates to accolades, it doesn't matter. In his eyes, he became a better player because of the injury. So as much as I wish Derrick Rose would have got injured to see his career, he believes he's better off for it, and I can only respect that. With Yao Ming, similar situation with Yao Ming, where Yao Ming's injured because of his size. He's such a big guy. It takes the toll on the body. Without his injuries, he can't be the same size. Maybe he's not the same player. Maybe he needs to shrink 4 inches to not be injured as often, because a 7'6", 7'7" player is going to be injured all the time. That's just no way around it. So it's kind of hard to even consider Yao Ming without the injuries. My pick, though, has got to be Brandon Roy. I mean, out of all the players on the list, does he not have the shortest career because of the injuries? I think he has the shortest time in the league because of the injuries. He actually wasn't able to finish his career, I would say, compared to some of these other players who, like you said, Tracy McGrady had a full career. Yao Ming, I mean, while he, I think, 10 years in the league? He had a nice career. Derrick Rose is still in the league, Brandon Roy had 5 years, 5 good years. Exactly. And he came back for 17 games in one season, and that was it for Brandon Roy. So I think Brandon Roy, not that he would have been the best player on this list had he not been injured, but his career definitely.
5 games.
Jesus. His career took the biggest derailing because of injuries. His career didn't even have a chance, whereas Derrick Rose just had to change how he played.
Yeah.
And Derrick Rose can still play. He's proven he can still play this past playoff series.
I agree. Honestly, that's a great and very well stated rebuttal. You actually sway me, not off my pick, but you open my eyes to Brandon Roy a little more. But my only back rebuttal would be just because Derrick Rose is still playing doesn't mean it didn't derail his. Because once again, he had his team going to the conference final. They were supposed to win championships. So just because he's still playing doesn't make me go, okay, well, Brandon Roy had the shortest. Because if that's the case, why isn't Greg Oden on this list then?
He was on the list, so I didn't want to say Greg Oden.
Greg Oden was being compared to Bill Russell.
Mm-hmm. Look, if
So
you
if you
compare
wanna talk
anybody
about
to
it, look the same, honestly. Like, I look at him.
2000, that's not a good comparison to me. Yeah.
But I mean, when he was at Ohio, listen, the guy was a monster in the post. He was a monster in the glass, and he was a monster protecting the rim. Greg Oden, before he got hurt,
injury problems at Ohio State. He got beat by Joakim Noah in the playoffs. I didn't think he was that good.
Not just Noah. Come on, you got. Don't forget about Corey Brewer. Don't forget about.
I know they had a team, but he got dominated by Joakim. Joakim and him were playing the same position. He had his hand taped up. Granted, he had the hand injury, but Joakim Noah put points on him and made him did not look. No.
See, now hold on. I think Joakim Noah doesn't get respect either. We must forget the Joakim Noah of the Chicago Bulls with MVP Derrick Rose.
We're talking about college Joakim Noah, though. We're talking about college.
But I'm saying he was a beast in his early career. Maybe he kind of fell off and he didn't really do much in the entire career.
Nobody likes
Joakim Noah was a beast.
Because of his attitude. That's why.
Yeah, but he was a beast. We're not gonna act like he couldn't dominate.
Nobody likes him. Noah reminds me of a guy. I don't like beasts. I don't like beasts because Noah reminds me of a guy like Patrick Beverly. And I'm not saying that he's Patrick Beverly. I think he's a better player. But if you flail and jump around and hustle, really, and I know that sounds stupid because you're supposed to hustle, right? But if you flail around and you do a lot of it makes it look like you're better at doing more than you really are. Mm-hmm. And Noah just kind of strikes me as that guy where it's like, man, he's got an energy. There you go. You just exert a lot of energy.
Yeah.
It makes you kind of look, and I used to like Pat Bev, but now I'm starting to like listen to guys in the league now and listen to other players that are clowning like, bro, he talks and does a lot. And that's why you guys think he's so great. Trust me, if he didn't say a word and just played, he'd be in Shanghai somewhere playing basketball.
In our go ahead and jump in,
I'm telling you what the players that get on the court with him. I'm always gonna listen to the players that play with the guys.
Russell said it in the media. He said he's got you guys cool. He don't be more than anybody.
And B said it too. And B said, y'all, this guy just makes a lot of noise.
Yep.
And y'all think this kid's good. So I tend to listen to the players that play with the people more than anybody else.
In our hour, go ahead and jump in. What do you think, buddy?
To make this quick, I agree with the big Manellas, Derrick Rose for sure, because I love Derrick Rose as a player from Memphis, and when he got drafted by the Bulls, obviously his explosiveness was crazy. So when he got the injury, it obviously went down. But when he's now with the second stint with the Knicks, it looks like he's back to the same. I'm not saying the same D Rose, but he's happy because he's back with the same coach that he had in Chicago. But Tom Thibodeau, I feel like that's a big help for him, and I'm just happy that D Rose is still playing in the league and playing with the Knicks and getting his opportunity more. So it's for me, it's an easy Derrick Rose. So
okay, all I know. We'll go through this real quick. Yao Ming. Even if Yao Ming didn't get injured, he wasn't dedicated enough to play in the NBA. He cared more about his national country than he did the NBA. That's a big reason why he was injured, and of course his height and his stature. Okay, so we'll go there. Then we'll go ahead and we'll go with Brandon Roy. You made a very, very good point about Brandon Roy because his career was derailed. And I mean, granted, he would have been an all-star. Put on the right team, he probably would have done something. But besides the derailment of his career of not being able to play again, that's the only thing that would make me think that he might have had the best career because he would continue playing. And we don't know that in that scenario. Tracy McGrady, 100% right. He's had all of his opportunities. He was up 3-1 against your Pistons. He couldn't get past the first round.
It felt good to finally get to the second round.
Yeah, he couldn't get past the first round. He just had the luck of shit in his career. Like the Spurs won the championship after he left them. So I mean, so that he just didn't have the right luck. Okay, Now we're going to go to Penny Hardaway. I think Penny Hardaway was a fabulous, fabulous player. I also don't think Penny Hardaway would have been that amazing. He was compared to the next Magic Johnson. I think him playing with Shaq helped elevate it. Now, when Shaq left, he still did good. But let's not forget he was still in the East, where you still had those Knicks. You still had Jordan after Shaq left. You still had the Pacers. You still had Iverson coming. You had Ray Allen with the Bucks. Like his career, the Magic weren't going to surround him with enough players, in my opinion, for him to be the only guy to take them past a lot of the Eastern Conference teams. But at that time, they weren't the best. And then you had the Pistons coming up a couple years later. So, Derrick Rose. Look, I think Derrick Rose is fabulous. Him being an MVP, I think, is awesome. I think he would have been a superstar among superstars, but we just talked about Dame Lillard. We would have been talking about Derrick Rose the same way we're talking about Dame Lillard right now. They weren't beating the Heat. They weren't. They had one great series against the Eastern Conference Finals, and then LeBron James switched on Derrick Rose and shut his ass down basically for the last 2 games. So they weren't going to
fall back on.
Now,
the rest of the team, even.
Once the Heat came together and they went to Cleveland, would Derrick Rose had a better chance, but I don't know if Derrick Rose would have stayed there. Derrick Rose also wasn't recruiting anybody. He didn't recruit Melo to come. He even said, my job is not to recruit. Melo decided to go back to New York. He didn't recruit Melo. He wasn't recruiting Dane Wade when D Wade had the option to come and wanted to go play in Chicago. He wanted to be the superstar and lead his team to the trophy with him being the sole guy. And I think that would have hurt him in his career. I think all of you guys are selling Grant Hill very short. VJ, you should remember as well as I do how big that dude was in the early 90s. His shoes were flying off the racks. He was the next greatest thing. Yes, he played 5 seasons in Detroit. Played 5 seasons. I looked up his records. He's had multiple MVP shares, but it's not that big of a deal. 8th, 9th, like not top 3 or anything like that. It was one time that he was 3rd, 96, 97. So he had a team. He was every year his points went up. He got better. He was a complete player. He was literally basically the next Scottie Pippen, which people were saying. He could defend. He could play. He could run the point, which at the time a forward running the point was still very, very new. Mm-hmm. And then he went and signed with Orlando playing next to Tracy McGrady. And people forget how injured he was. So you said he came back and was playing. The dude missed 5 seasons. He literally did not play. He set out all of 2003, all of 2004, played 4 games. He never played for Detroit or Orlando. He played 4 games in 01, 14 games in 02, 29 games in 03, set out all of 03, 04, played 67 games in 05, 21 games in 20. So in 4 to 5 years, he played above 29 games once and was never the same. The infection in his knee took away all his athleticism. And I'm pissed because we literally did not get to see him and Tracy McGrady next to each other in an era where combos were everything. Before your super teams, you would have had Grant Hill at the 3 and Tracy at the 2 in the East. That would, going against your Pistons, tell me that wouldn't have been fun to watch in the 03-04 season against the Nets. Like his career could have been looked at completely different if he wouldn't have got injured for 5 to 6 years and basically didn't play. And then he came back and just became a role player.
As the resident 703 member, 703 is the area code I'm from in Virginia. Same area code Grant Hill is from, South Lakes High School in Reston, Virginia, and Alexandria, Virginia. I've been following Grant Hill since high school. Follow Grant Hill all through Duke. Super excited he got drafted by the Pistons. I think you're still selling him short if you think we're selling him short. He wasn't the next Scottie Pippen. People thought Grant Hill was the next Jordan.
Okay, so you're right.
People thought Grant Hill.
You're right.
People, in my opinion, at one point in his career, Grant Hill was the second best player in the league.
Yes. And
the reason why he is not my pick for that, though, is because I don't think anybody ever truly thought that he was going to win championships in Detroit. That's why, and I know the injuries there, but the injuries, I don't know whose fault it was. He should have never played the playoff series on the ankle. and that's what started first. The infection in the knee, that was later. But the ankle injury, and then Allen Houston telling Grant Hill that he was probably going to re-sign with the Pistons. Grant Hill goes to the Olympics, plays in the Olympics in Atlanta, and while he's down there, news breaks, Allen Houston has signed a free agent deal with the New York Knicks. That started the downfall of where his career was going to. The injuries, I get. But even before that, he never took Detroit to a conference finals. He only had Detroit. I get Jordan was there. I get all of that. But Derrick Rose was dubbed to win championships, and the injuries took away from that. Grant Hill was dubbed to be the next really, 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 really good or great player, and the injuries kind of did. But at the end of the day, the guy still made the Hall of Fame. Now, that's a whole different show. I don't even want to go there.
I literally think
I don't even want to go there. That's a whole different show.
Fan, you are a little angry at Grant Hill leaving Detroit.
A little?
And I think you, as a I no.
A little?
A little. You're highly upset.
Yeah. You can raise that. It's okay.
You
gotta turn it up a little bit.
You just said Grant Hill was compared to Jordan and was not expected to win championships. But the greatest player of all time in a lot of people's eyes, he was supposed to be the next of that. And the next person that we have seen that we can compare to the next of Jordan is Kobe. And you're telling me that Derrick Rose, because he was supposed to win championships, and Grant Hill was supposed to be Jordan? That's not no.
Listen,
you even said yourself that Derrick Rose wasn't getting past Cleveland. So
yeah,
winning champions, even if Derrick Rose doesn't get injured, Derrick Rose isn't winning championships. So what does that mean?
Who said that? Your pop said that. I didn't say that.
Okay, sorry.
No, your pop said that. Yeah. I didn't say it.
He wasn't
you are right.
Sorry.
I can admit one thing about me. I can admit who I am in this industry. And the reason why I do not bang on him is because I'm still such a fan of him. Because we're from the same area code in Virginia, and I'll never bang on my fellow homies. If you from where I'm from, then we rock. We cool. I'm rocking with you. But you want to talk about one of the most hurtful moments in my sports life was seeing that Grant Hill was holding up that jersey, standing next to Doc Rivers and Tracy McGrady. I was and my younger brother Terrence at the time was a huge Orlando Magic and Tracy McGrady fan. So he rubbed that shit. I was looking at you like, I couldn't believe Grant tucked ass and ran from Detroit like that. And that's why we still won another championship, and his ass don't have one.
At least you admit it, because the more you were talking, I was like, no, I do feel like there is some deep down, and I get it, I understand it. I have a lot of deep, as a sports fan and being a fan of the Chiefs, and if you are a fan of a team, when a team trades your players, sometimes you can get it, but when they leave, you can't get away from that.
That's why I argue with people all the time. You can never put yourself in the Cleveland Cavalier fan base seat if you're not a Cavs fan. Your entire life, you have been shit. You've done, and then the 1 year you had a shot, you went and you got the Jordan stopper, Gerald Wilkins, and Jordan ceremoniously swept y'all asses by hitting the game shot at the end of game 4, a turnaround jumper, and then holding his hands in the air, looking at the cleat. That's the Jordan stopper, the guy I just swept. Okay. And then for LeBron to do it the way that he did. I always tell people, you can leave if you want, but not like that, man.
No, the way he did
not on TV. Not. If anything, put a call in.
Yeah.
To the Cleveland front office and say, look, it's not going to be you.
I'm just not burning a jersey.
It's not going to be you. I'm easy. 5 minutes before you go on air, because somebody asked me, okay, so when do you make the call? 5 minutes before you go on air, homeboy. So they can't beat you. They can't put it out. Right before they go 3, 2, 1, you're handing the phone back to Maverick Carter.
Sorry to cut you off. I got to go. So thanks for having me.
No, you're good. We're good, buddy. Sorry about that. Thank you for joining us. You have a wonderful day. Be safe.
Thank you.
Good job.
But I just think that it's all fans go through it. And as a Piston, when Grant Hill pulled that shit, and also because Grant Hill said, I want to be here. It wasn't just that he left. Grant Hill put out fillers and shit. I want to be here. I want to help build, because we figured if we re-sign him and re-sign re-sign Allen Houston, we had just brought in Terry Mills. We were drafting Lindsey Hunter. Like, they were really building that team and putting that team and structuring that team around Allen Houston to be the 2. Grant Hill was going to be the 3. Terry Mills would have been the stretch 4. Terry Mills was a stretch 4. People remember he could shoot the 3 ball. Yep. And then you were going to bring in Lindsey Hunter, was going to steady the point guard position, learn under Joe Dumars, because Joe was still there. It was all set up. So he kind of said he wanted to be there and then left. That's why that shit hurts me. So I tell Cleveland people all the time, dog, y'all can't be mad at them fans. Them fans, like, what he did was Oklahoma City, same thing. If I'm Russell Westbrook, I understand getting pissed at Durant every time I get on the court with you. Because, damn, dog, you could at least told me I'm sitting and watching the decision like everybody else is.
Well, they had the report.
You're going to go to the team that we had down 3. You're going to go to them? Damn, dog. And I like Durant. But that was a sucker move, man. I like Durant. He's from the DMV, from PG County in Maryland. I saw him play. He was at Montrose Christian High School when he was playing in high school. I saw Durant. But that move,
it was bitch made.
That was a suck ass move, man. I get it, but you tilt to the NBA, and
there's just ways to go about it.
I know we're going off, but that's why I don't like LeBron. I don't like when you fuck with the competitive balance of sports. I don't like HGH. I don't like cheaters. I don't like the steroids era. If you cheat, I've never cheated in sports in my life. I would never tell somebody to cheat. Cheaters are people that try to maneuver the shit in their favor and just don't go out and beat people's ass organically. I don't fuck with them.
And the stupid ass line that if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying needs to be retired.
Yeah, that needs to be that's now college sports. Yeah, we know everybody playing, but I have a source in the SEC. And I know what school it is, but I just don't ever want to say it because I'm attached to college football professionally, so I never want to burn my paycheck. But I have a source in the SEC telling me there's an SEC program right now. We all know who it is. They said they're running that shit like the NFL franchise. Yeah. And we all know who it is.
Yeah.
We all know who it is.
Yep.
You're getting the bet. You ever been to Tuscaloosa? You ever been down there, dude? So you're convincing all these guys, you're convincing all these kids to leave Sunny Cap, Bryce Young, quarterback from Modern Day High School. I caught his games up here against DJ Uiagalelei, the quarterback that's in Clemson right now, right out here in California. He was committed to SC. Took one trip to Alabama overnight and signed.
Yep. No, that makes sense.
To SC. You're leaving Los Angeles. I live here. You're leaving
Tuscaloosa.
For racist, down south, hot, humid.
We ain't going to talk about that. Yeah. Just you. Alabama is a flyover state to me. That's just all it is to it. There's a couple flyovers.
They have sundown cities still.
Yeah.
They have sundown towns where if you're black, that's what I'm saying.
It's a flyover state. There. There's a lot of flyover states for me.
The whole Midwest is basically a flyover for me. I'm just gonna skip my ass to Atlanta and drive up if I need to.
Yeah. So it's if you're cheating, man, like I said, college sports, all right, we know, but when you're trying to really purposely maneuver competition in your favor and just not going out and being better than this guy, I got nothing for you, man. And that's exactly why I do not like LeBron James. He has totally changed the way we even talk about basketball. We don't even talk about the games no more. It's all players. Yeah. We don't even talk about the games no more. Turn the TV on. Turn on First Take. Turn on Undisputed. Turn the TV on. And you tell me if they're even talking about the game, are they making excuses or blaming everybody else to protect their narrative guy that they want to talk about? It's horrible.
Well, he's not in the playoffs no more, so we ain't got to worry about the talk about him right
I can't
now.
wait till he retires.
We got
his son's gonna be up in the league right after that. Yeah, like LeBron James.
And I know we're going up, but this is great stuff. Real talk.
You're right.
Tell me one thing positive he's done for the NBA. Just name one.
LeBron?
Yep.
Okay, well, hold on. We're not gonna sit here and act like LeBron's impact in being in the NBA alone, giving players the autonomy to go where they want to go. That is a good thing.
And that's a good thing. And that's
a good thing.
Really?
So yeah, that is. Okay. I think because at the end of the day, you are not slaved to these teams. You don't owe anything to these cities just because they gave you this. You don't owe anything to these teams, and it feels good to bring something to your hometown. Bring something to the team that you've been with the whole time. But at the end of the day, you're not in the league. I'm not joining the NBA to make Cleveland a team. I'm not joining the NBA to make LA. I'm joining the NBA to make my money, my rings. And if they see opportunities to do that elsewhere, I think it's power to them to have the bravery to do so. Now, I agree the way LeBron went about it is extremely unhealthy. It's as simple as being discreet and professional. But the idea and the ability to be able to do so, I think is still a good thing.
The ability is, see, that's a false narrative, Devin. The ability's always been there, young man.
See, no, it's always been there, but you got extremely looked like even the way you look at Grant Hill. You couldn't just do it.
But he did it though.
And
that was back in 19. Hold on, but the point I made, he did it. It's been there, bro.
It's still the way that people are going to look at you after the fact, the way people are going to talk about you after the fact, especially if you go somewhere like Grant Hill goes and doesn't win.
Because the way that it's being done to create a competitive unbalance unorganically. It's always been there. But now it's to create this balance of trying to monopolize and purposely doing it. That's not healthy for the league. Ratings are down 41. Look at the numbers, dude. The ratings are down 41. People are tired of this shit. They're tired of this super team. Oh, I want to go play with this guy. I want to go play with this guy. I want to go. So how about in the NFL, every receiver wants to go play with the best quarterback? That would not be healthy for the NFL. It wouldn't be healthy for baseball. It wasn't healthy for baseball when the Yankees, the worst thing in baseball is no salary cap. Between 96 and 2003, the Yankees could sign everybody and just pay the luxury tax. And there was no penalty. And baseball went just like this. Because people were like, hold on, that's an unfair balance. You guys could just sign Mike Mussina, then go sign Roger Clemens, then go sign Darren Strawberry, then go sign A-Rod, then go – like, you guys can just go get everybody? That's not healthy for the sport. In this autonomy and players to do what they want, that's not healthy.
You're expecting an administration who's trying to win a ring, though, to look out for what's healthy for the sport. They're saying what's healthy for this team, what's healthy for myself.
How many people does it work for, Devin?
What was that?
How many people does it work for? Because that's a great point.
Okay,
you're right. They're supposed to be a ring for themselves. But tell me how many people has it worked for?
LeBron.
And Durant.
Yeah.
Two guys.
Well, hold on. Well, we can
join up with other like Hall of Fame style players to even do it. That's not healthy because now he's a Knicks fan. You want Lillard, you want Kawhi, you want like
he's talking about the NR guy. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah. But you feel like now everybody wants every damn player to come to their team because this is what now we've seen. Oh well, it's a player empowerment. The players
what's the alternative? The alternative is you just be bad till you get naturally someone can come to you. I feel like there's no alternative to if we want a better player and better players now can just go where they want to go and not be looked at like, oh, look at this person giving up on their team. Look at this person giving up on their home team. They gave up on the team who drafted them. Like, I think didn't Kobe want out of LA early on in his career? Would people have been like, oh, look at Kobe leaving LA because he wanted out?
Wanted the Lakers. Kobe, hold up. You gotta once again, you gotta put the whole narrative in place. Yeah, Kobe wanted them to do what they said they were gonna do. Kobe did not ask for a trade because Bus came to him and said, look, we're thinking of moving Shaq. Kobe said, all right, if you do, though, make sure you build this back up because it's about to tear our team down. And I'll shoulder it for right now. I'll shoulder it the next two. He told Bus face to face, I'll carry the blame for the next 2 to 3 years. This is all documented and out. He told Bus this. I'll carry the blame. Don't worry about it. But fix it as fast as you can.
And then they didn't fix
it. By the time 2 years was over, Kobe's like, hold on, dog. Chris Mims, Smush Parker, Sasha Vujacic, Caron Butler, Lamar Odom, Kwame Brown. Hold on, dog. This was not the agreement. And that's when Kobe started to say something because we had a side quiet talk. I took all that shit for 2 years, right? Didn't say a word. Kobe just went out and played. Like, I'll just go out.
Okay.
I'll just average 35. I'll just average
Yeah,
33.
Let me jump
I-
in here real quick. Let me jump in here real quick because I kind of agree with both of you guys. Okay, I agree with both of you. I agree that LeBron has literally changed the way that NBA players look at what they need and how they stack teams together. I also believe that for the longest time, organizations have done the same thing that NBA players are doing right now, and if they could do that, they would. We also so I kind of see that the player empowerment movement. I think he's right. It only works really for those two players. Yes, Anthony Davis got to be traded, but only because of LeBron. If it wasn't for Rich Paul being the agent, Anthony Davis would have never done that. So,
but remember, he fired his agent to hire Rich Paul.
But at the same time, but at the same time, he makes a very good point. You give 7 years to an organization because you are literally owned. You're owned as a player. That is your contract for 7 years. So LeBron with Cleveland for 7 years did everything in his power, and the best player they got him was a 36-year-old Shaq. And Mo Williams, which Mo Williams was fabulous with him.
I was going to say, don't play Mo Williams, man.
No, I'm not saying he's bad, but so is every point guard that plays with LeBron. So, I mean, that in all honesty, his best players were Mo Williams and 36-year-old Shaq. They could have got Amari Stoudemire, which that is well documented, but they didn't want to trade J.J. Hickson. So if you spend 7 years with an organization and for 7 years they don't do what they're supposed to do, you mean to tell me it's not okay to go join a team that I can win because I've done everything by myself?
It is. It's just
now
a way of trying to corner the market.
Yes,
that
now,
I don't like.
That's what I agree with because of his decisions to not only go and put himself in a better situation, to go along and bring Hall of Famers in their prime, not Boston Celtic 3, not Houston Rockets 3 with old Drexler and Barkley and Olajuwon.
Yeah.
He went and bring players in their prime. Not that we all going to decide at the same time to cut our deals. We're not, and remember, Carmelo was supposed to be there too, but he wanted the money in the trade. So we're all gonna cut our deals to be at the same time, so we all have the most power, so we can join up together. That really ruined a competitive balance for the NBA. And if it didn't, nobody's been in the finals besides Steph or LeBron for the last 10 years. Now, granted, they include Steph because he went and recruited Durant. If they did not recruit Durant, we would not be considering the same stuff, saying Steph has not been in the finals that many years because maybe there was those three and maybe they don't make it back the next year. We don't 100% know what happens if the Thunder stay together and play them instead of going with Durant. So the reason why is because, and the reason why Durant felt that he had to do that was because of what he saw happen with LeBron. Now,
that's what I was about to ask you.
He went and said, look, I've been here for 7 years. He was a villain for 1 year. And then they love him. He's back on top, getting MVPs again. Let me go and do that. Granted, LeBron didn't draft. And I think that trade, that right there, one up LeBron. LeBron drafted a team that wasn't in the playoffs and decided to get the team together. There still was a lot. Durant drafted a team that was literally fucking great and just happened to have the money and drafted that team. So I think it continues to one up. And now LeBron's like, nope, we're not even waiting for free agency no more. Anthony Davis, ask for a trade. Ask for a trade right now.
Exactly.
Ask for a trade right now.
Or I'm going to
know. Leonard, Paul George, you just resigned. You don't even, you just resigned. Ask for a trade.
Very telling picture 2 years ago. If you guys remember at Indiana, where LeBron sat away from the entire Laker team because it came out that he tried to trade. And these guys are all sitting there. That's what I'm saying. And you wonder why he gets his slander. I told the guy this on the show yesterday. I'm like, dude, he invites a lot of this. Some of the shit people say is stupid. I agree with that. But he invites a lot of the slander that he does get because of his actions and the things that he does. I'm not a big Jason Whitlock fan, but Jason Whitlock always says, I go where your actions take me. If your actions are going to take me this way, now he's a coon himself, so that's all I'm ever saying. That's all I'm ever saying good about him.
Make sure you records that.
But Durant is on record as saying, I watched LeBron lead and then go get rings and was winning MVPs. I did the same thing, and then I beat him head-to-head twice. How y'all not saying this about me? Which is a direct reflection. If LeBron never does it, then Durant doesn't do it, and we might have a more level out.
And then Kawhi did it.
And then Kawhi did it. Listen, and let's not forget, 2 years ago, LeBron was trying to recruit Kawhi to come play with him and AD. Like, he was still trying to stack the deck.
And Kawhi did it to Paul George. So I believe in the player empowerment. I believe that you should not be stuck in a horrible franchise for 7 years that does not care about winning or does not care about you being healthy or anything like that. I completely agree. But at the same time, I do not believe that you should be able to go and put together a fucking all-star. The Warriors literally 2 years ago.
With the Warriors, hold on. You have to remember the Warriors. It's very important that the only reason why they could sign Durant was because the salary cap exploded.
No shit.
So I think the whole Durant thing, that doesn't happen in a normal NBA. That doesn't happen in a normal salary cap league. Like right now, no player could do that because the salary cap wouldn't allow.
They could have all opted out of their contracts because Steph Curry had the player option.
No, sure they re-signed the less. Yes, if they re-signed the less, but that wasn't a choice. That wasn't. I'm sure Durant wasn't going to take less.
Let's not forget they had to trade Harrison Barnes.
They did it in Miami. Like instead of like LeBron and Wade could have got 108 and Bosh could have got 98. They all took like 95 or 96 to make it work. Like everybody you can give up $4 or $5 million to say, like everybody thinks Steph's leaving Golden State. Steph is up. Do you guys understand that he's up for $260 million?
He's not leaving Golden State.
He's not going anywhere.
No.
He's going to retire there. He won't even give them a chance to trade him. Yeah. He's going to be there for the rest of his career. So that's a great point you do bring up because, the salary cap did explode, but people knew it, though. It didn't come out of nowhere. People were talking, hey, somebody's gonna be able to give Durant a whole bunch of money, man, because this new salary, it's like the NFL. Did you guys see the new salary cap for the NFL? Yep. The new TV deals that it kicked in? That's why there's so many one-year deals this year, because next year, oh, God, it is going to be the wild, wild west in the NFL. We're going to see 50, 60, 70, 80, $90 million deals thrown around by free agents like crazy. So that's a great point you do bring up.
I'm glad you bring that up.
The point is, he doesn't do that if LeBron doesn't start. Look, they even admitted, they let the cat out of the bag. Him and Wade talked about it a year before at the Olympics, bro. Yeah. They knew they were going to do it.
No, it was planned.
It was planned.
It was supposed to be Melo instead of Bosh. It was planned.
It was supposed to be Melo. Yeah, it was supposed to be Melo.
They literally basically had this plan. If our careers don't go, let's all of their, except for Melo, wanted money. That's all that happened.
And Melo wanted New York because he's from New York. Melo wanted to go. He wanted to play in a big market with the Knicks. Remember, he tried to get LeBron to go to the Knicks with him. LeBron just wouldn't go. LeBron took the meeting, but he just went. He didn't like Dolan. He wasn't going to play for Dolan. He wasn't going to.
He preferred Miami.
The Knicks is that franchise that everybody thinks is so prestigious to play for. It's really just more prestigious to just bust ass in Madison Square Garden. It's not even really prestigious to wear Knicks. Really,
Michael Jordan said it's his favorite stadium to play in, so everyone else thinks the Knicks is hot shit, basically.
Yeah. Well,
Jordan was in the 70s and 80s.
Basketball.
Well, no, I'm saying it's his favorite stadium.
Who?
Jordan.
No, because Jordan said it's his favorite stadium to play in.
Well, he called it the Mecca. Yeah. He said it's the Mecca of basketball.
That's what he's saying. He's saying it's because of Jordan. Yeah.
He called it the Mecca of basketball. And then you're right. So, but it does hold like Kobe never thought of playing for the Knicks, but he made sure he got that scoring record. Like when you go play there, like Trae Young, do you think Trae Young has that serious if that's against the Bucks in the first round? No. Madison Square Garden just has that about. I mean, Frazier and Ali fought there, right? I mean, it's MSG, and I think that's more important than as far as the Knicks. But just my point, and I'll shut up. It's the competitive balance has been ruined in the NBA, and I can't wait for a guy like him to retire and leave the league alone. And hopefully we get back. duos, cool, man. But when you're talking like Blake Griffin selling ass in Detroit, playing like shit on purpose to get out of a deal. Listen, man, this buyout shit. Come on, man, this is ridiculous. You can just play like shit and then show up. James Harden wore a fat suit.
And that's the problem. Yeah.
And then got to Brooklyn and I did a meme because that's like his third.
And I did mention, it's about being professional and discreet with your organization. That's the key. It's not about forcing your way out. That's extremely unhealthy.
And that's what's happening.
The strong arming is definitely not good for the league.
Now, guys have forced their way out before. Barkley forced his way. I don't have a problem. I get it. And I agree with you guys. I'll give it 7 years. Okay, fine. 7, 8 years. Cool. Kid like Garnett gives you 10, gives you 11. I get it. But to go on the side and whisper, hey, let's all go here. Let's all go there. Everybody can't do that. Everybody doesn't have tight friends in the league that are also top 10 fucking players. Everybody didn't create their own agency and then get to the point where we actually are going to sign former players and then get them jobs on networks so you can push the agenda even further. Come on, man. Everything.
Not only that, it also creates unfair for Dame Lillard, Giannis, all of these other players that
don't have friends.
Yeah, so like I said, I get restricted free agency when that showed up because Grant left after 5 years.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So when they got that, I think it's a direct result from that. But he's 100% right. It has ruined the competitive balance in the NBA. We knew who was going to be in the finals. We knew that.
Four straight years.
We knew LeBron. This is the first year that like the 7th seed was LeBron, and everybody's like they're going to be in the finals. So, like, right now, the West is wide open. Nobody knows what's happening in the West because Steph and LeBron are not in the playoffs. And that's what's even worse is now you got fans, and just, Devin, let me trickle it down to this. It's so bad in the league. Now you got people in fans. Oh, nobody wants to see Utah. Nobody wants. Now we're to that. We're not the fans. Oh, well, I don't want to. Why don't you want to watch Utah play? Have you watched Utah play? But you claim you love ball. You claim you love the league.
That's one thing I was hoping we would somehow get into that. I was gonna say with the way since the Lakers are out, the Warriors are out. These teams that are left, especially in the West, these are fundamental beat your ass, pick and roll, give and go, triangle, everything. Like these are teams that know how to play from top to bottom. They're not teams that are going to just give it to one person to go off on you. No, they're going to move the ball and bust on you. So looking at what's left, it's going to be a surprising to see people. Like, oh, Utah, what? Nah, like you said, Utah. They're first seed for a reason, man. They're one of the best teams in the league for a reason. And it's less like that in the East. It's really only like that in the West, I say. The East is full of just superstars that give me the ball, let me do it. Even the teams that aren't supposed to be like that, like I look at the Celtics as a team who I think should be running plays. They're like, nah, Tatum just took over the series because we didn't have Brown. We couldn't rely on Walker. So it's looking at the West. I mean, the finals have already happened, or the real finals is going to be, I'd say, the Western Conference Finals. Because whoever makes it in the East, if it's not the Nets, then, I mean, what does it matter?
I think that your pop is right. We don't know. Yeah, that's what I like about we don't know. Lovely. Speaking of Utah, Quinn Snyder, guys, people, and not you gentlemen, you guys are smart, but people listen. A lot of people that talk sports act like they know what the fuck they're saying on social media. Don't know shit. They really don't. Most people don't. They're talking with their heart. They're not using their brain and don't do their research. Quinn Snyder is a Larry Brown product. That team looks like the 04 Pistons. We don't know who's going to lead us tonight, but we're going to bust y'all ass. We're going to defend. We're going to shoot the three. We're going to play hard. We got the defensive player of the year. Oh, reminds me of a guy by the name of Ben Wallace going into the Hall of Fame, 4-time defensive player of the year. Like, if you can't enjoy watching that, then don't tell me you like basketball. Get out of here with that bullshit. Don't tell me that I'm an NBA fan. No, you're not. You're a social media fan that watches these same damn shows every morning. It's your daily thing. You watch the same bullshit, and they say this. It's just like political media, right? And I'm not a politics guy, but if you say it enough times, they'll believe it. If you just say it was a stolen election, all you have to do is just keep saying stolen election, 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 and then people will go, you know what? Eddie Murphy on Raw has a really good joke where he talks about Mr. T, where he says he's gonna play some Jedi mind track on him. Hey, I heard you did some jokes about me. No, you didn't. Maybe I didn't. Right? Is all you gotta do is just say. All you gotta do is just keep saying this shit over and over again. And that's why I love football the way I do. That's why I fuck with hockey the way I do. You can do all the talking all you want, but at some point you gotta buckle that chin strap. You gotta strap on them shoulder pads. You gotta buckle that hockey helmet. You gotta get out on that goddamn ice. And the refs aren't gonna save you. And sports media is not gonna save you. And social media is not gonna save you. The NBA is the only sport where media and social media frame minds. If people don't actually watch the games, if you can't, Utah, we talked about it earlier. Memphis thought they had something in game one. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell's out. Yeah, let's get Donovan back. And it became a 25-point difference.
And what was the media's take on that? Oh my God, are they going to be upset? They went
ballistic. Oh, Utah. This is what you get from you.
One seed.
Relax. How Kobe do it when Shaq got fouled out in Game 5 against the Pacers? Relax. I got this. Relax. And that's what happens with the NBA, just the way we judge and look at it. Utah, dude, this Denver Sun series? Oh my God.
It's gonna be fabulous.
Oh my God. No kids already came out and said that Ayton has given him the most trouble over the last 2 seasons. We don't know Devin Booker. If you thought Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell was the show last year, we get Devin Booker and Donovan or Jamal Murray's out, but we get Devin Booker in this series. And Michael Porter, man. You get
that matchup.
Once again, you do your history and go back. Number 1 ranked player coming out of high school. If he was eligible for the draft, everybody said he would have went number 1. He got to Missouri and got hurt. He was going to be the number 1 pick.
Yeah. He got injured.
And it's now starting. Now people are like,
freshman year and didn't play at all, basically. So that's like
it's not a fluke. It's not a fluke. He's balling the way he's balling. And in the East ain't no walk, man. I know everybody the Nets are going to win. If the Nets ever have a 2-game span,
if it's not the Nets, it's extremely competitive. But once you go past the Nets,
I still think anybody could take the Nets. I got the Nets with or without Harden in 6 against the Bucks because of what I said about Giannis and Middleton earlier. But I mean, a healthy Sixers, upstart Atlanta. You just can't. When you got a kid like Trae Young, and you got shooters like they got on that squad, and you have Clint Capella. Do we not remember? Clint Capella was on the team in Houston that was up 3-1. Yeah. That was up 3-1 on Golden State, playing the pick and roll with Chris Paul, catching lobs, and he's doing the same thing with Trae Young. Not to say that they'll get to the finals, but if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm gonna look and go. If I'm Nate McMillan, my coaching is what do we have to lose, guys? Yeah. You guys, the X's and O's is listen. I'm not drawing nothing up today. Go play.
Is that fun?
You've been doing this shit all year. Go play. And what do we got to lose? We're supposed to be here. That'd be my coach's speech if I'm Nate McMillan, if I could get them to the conference finals. But with no Embiid,
look, just stop talking about fucking Sixers right now.
Listen, man, I grew up. My dad
cannot be going well.
Philly. My dad is a diehard Philly sports fan. My father loves his Flyers, his Phillies, his Sixers. My dad even fuck with Temple. Okay, like my dad is all Philly. So I've been Philly I've been hearing about Philly shit all my life. I love the franchise when they're good. It's just that it just seems like other than Iverson and Barkley and Julius, they're a franchise, man. That just I don't like
nothing to do with the players. It's the franchise.
It could be a curse. It could be a jinx. It could be the curse of William Penn. Remember, you weren't supposed to build a building higher than the William Penn statue, and ever since they didn't win anything until 2 years ago. Or 4 years ago, they won the Super Bowl. But can you even enjoy that as an Eagle fan in Philly because the damn team's already broken up? Like nobody even cares about that Super Bowl anymore. A Super Bowl, a championship in sports, in my opinion, in the NFL, it buys you 7 years. In the NBA, it buys you 10 years. Rick Carlisle is still coaching because he was able to beat the Heatles. He'd have been gone, but he's liked by the front office. He's also run by a true businessman in Mark Cuban that understands you can't have too much turnover at the top. You're going to kill your business. Yeah. He runs the Mavs like a straight. Man, fuck all that T-shirt. You ever see him on Shark Tank? That's
Yes.
the businessman right there. That's
Yeah,
not
he
Mark
be-
Cuban. At the
Yeah,
first
Mark
time.
Cuban. Mark Cuban is great. Oh,
Yeah,
he
if you
did a
ever
great
watch
job
Shark
in
Tank,
Dallas.
that's Mark Cuban, right? He runs it.
Yeah.
So I mean, Philly. God, I don't even have an answer for it. I just look at that franchise like they should win it this year. There's no answer for Embiid. The Nets can't guard the post. Embiid's 30 a night. There's no answer for him.
I mean, it
Tobias
boils
is
down
playing
to
like the Tobias that we thought we had in Detroit.
Yeah.
Tobias is balling like. I mean, that's a good. I mean, you add in these pieces that they have on this squad. That you have a Curry who can flat out give you 20 or 25. One game of series, he's gonna give you 25 points. He flat out. Philly should win it this year, but for some reason, they won't.
And we
See,
can't
with
blame Brett
Philly-
Brown. I can't say shit because I blame Brett Brown every fucking year. I can't blame him no more.
He's
I
gone.
can't blame him. I just don't. You know what? I'm going to get a massage after this. That's all I fucking know.
With
My whole body hurts.
Philly, it's definitely load management with Philly. Philly's had plenty of opportunities, I feel like, to be good. But and then something happens, you know, like right now, like this season, you know, they're
Embiid
coming to the
last year
playoffs
been
hot,
playing-
and Embiid goes down with his
The
knee.
lucky
I think the
shot by
smart
fucking
thing,
Kawhi Leonard.
they should have. Yeah, see, it's always one thing, one instance when one thing happens. It's like, well, there goes the season, guys. So with Philly, I mean, they just got to be smart with Embiid this postseason. I think Philly can still go all the way as long like Embiid shouldn't have played this game. There's no reason why. It's game one. You're in Philadelphia. There's no reason for him to be in the game right now. He should have been on the bench, just resting. Win or lose, doesn't matter. You don't want to play him and run the risk of losing game one on a hurt Embiid. I think the smart thing to do was, I think it was a game time decision. It should have not even been that. It should have been, okay, well, game time, we're going to say no. We're going to say game time so that the other team doesn't know how to prepare against us. But we're not playing him no matter what. We're resting him game one. Let him come back game two and dominate. Because now, I mean, he's going to have to play so much harder.
I'm gonna hip you to that phrase, game time decision. It's a false narrative in pro sports. Never believe that.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They know well in advance.
They already know.
Wait
These
to
doctors-
throw off the opponent.
Yeah, they just have to do that so that it doesn't look like that you're putting winning over the player's health. Because we just saw that with AD. I've pulled my groin before, and I was 17 when I pulled my groin. This man is 30 and then been in the league, wear and tear on his body. I had that wear and tear playing football at 17, but I couldn't walk for 3 days. I literally couldn't walk for 3 days. Like I stayed home from school. I couldn't walk. So to put a guy out there who's grimacing as he's trying to warm up hours before the game, that shit's all for fluff.
No,
That's all for
even
fluff.
like the trainer, the
Yeah.
doctors
Maybe
were like,
they
"Oh,
should've
he can't
If I
injure
was-
it
if I was
anymore." What the
AD,
hell does
I'd
that
ask
mean?
out of LA, because those doctors, and people can say what you want, those doctors will cost you your career
Yep.
if they misdiagnose you. That's why look what happened with San Antonio and Kawhi. That was a really big mess. And even to the point where Popovich wanted to stay out of it, but then he got dragged into it. But Kawhi's people was like, nah, y'all misdiagnosing him. He's telling you he can't play. Have we ever known Kawhi to not want to play or to half-ass anything? No. He's telling you it hurt. Oh, well, no, I mean, he's passed off the test. Well, let's go. And then they go get a second opinion. The other doctor's like, nah.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, what you thinking? What you mean?"
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys are big WWE or wrestling. I grew up in the East Coast and the South, so I grew up.
He's
watching
huge on
wrestling.
wrestling. My dad's huge on wrestling.
I just watched The Undertaker on the Joe Rogan show. The Undertaker talks about how he basically wrestled like 400 days with a broken back because the WWE doctors they didn't misdiagnose him. You can't take The Undertaker off the card.
Yeah.
Because there's kids who have saved their lawnmower money and their
I used
car
to do
washing money, and parents that have put money aside to take them to this one event in this bumfuck town that never gets anything, but the WWE is coming on a Saturday night, and the Undertaker's wrestling Yokozuna. So you gotta put him out there. But he's telling you, you know, I wrestled 480 straight days one time, 480 out of like 420 days with a broken back.
See, y'all thought Undertaker just walked stiff. No, he had a back brace on the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why he moved like all stiff and shit. He got up from the
And well, that's also why wrestlers
He couldn't
don't
bend his back.
But Triple H tells a great story how the day he said he found his love and respect for Mark was, he goes, I'm watching this guy with 3 broken ribs tape a flight jacket on so he could go out here and wrestle tonight. but you have 3 broken ribs, dude.
Yeah,
And
that's
NFL, could you imagine an NFL franchise putting their quarterback on the field with 3 broken damn ribs? But Justin Fields did it last year in the national championship playoff, right? Justin Fields had 2 broken ribs, and Ohio State's like, we don't give a fuck. We're trying to win a national championship.
Exactly.
And of course, a 20-year-old kid who's trying to get in the NFL wants to show how tough he is, right? Wants to show what a gamer I am. I could have really. What if he had a punctured lung in that game from one of them broken ribs, and it fucked his career up?
Yep,
These franchises, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, college is real bad because once you're gone in college, you're gone. They don't even have to care about you the second you graduate. You've done what you.
They don't got to care about you when you get injured. They can cut you.
I'm about to say it's once you get in.
I guess, yeah. Well, no, they care about what you could have done.
If you're the 11th guy,
gone. Yeah, the 11th guy definitely gone.
Coach Vince
and your scholarship.
was on our podcast. He played for UNLV. He'll tell you stories about that shit. Yeah. But anyway, we're gonna have to go ahead and end this because we've been going for about 3 hours, and I got a damn massage scheduled in about an hour and a half. About an hour. Yeah.
You know how to live, brother. I am quite the massage therapist and go to the spa. I'm the spa guy.
That's one of those things.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so you live how I live.
When you watch what I'm watching on DVR, you'll completely understand.
Yeah.
You see what you're doing,
even a comment like that kind of ruins it for me, but okay.
he's had tears running down his face for the last 45 minutes.
I've done everything in my power to try not to say anything. For like 10 minutes.
Yeah, but Eric,
you
like me, your face tells it all.
I was saying, yeah, he's
I
expected to come back and it be better, and it got worse, and I wanted to cry. And now
hey, Sarge, I've been the whole time I'm sitting here looking at his face. I'm like, God, so he just gonna tell me. Now I asked him not to say shit about the game. So he just gonna sit here with his facial expressions and shit. Like I'm not looking at him like he's not watching the. But it's only one game.
I know myself. Like I know my face tells everything.
Game. I had it right here, and I was just like, okay, fuck it. But
your face told us how that game was going the whole time.
There were so many times that I just got up and walked away because I wanted to cuss and scream like, motherfucker. So I just get up and just.
Speaking of that game, we're talking Morant, we're talking Zion, Devin Booker. I wasn't sold on him first, and I reached out to Rashad Phillips. I don't know if you guys follow him. Yeah. He's a real good basketball guy to follow on social media. Yeah, Rashad Phillips is my guy out of Orlando. I texted him in the middle of the night the other night. I said, "You're the only guy I know who's been pumping for Trae Young from day one, even in college." I said, Trae Young sent him a pair of his signature shoes. I said, you know what? And you and I gone back and forth. I said, I like to give props where when I'm wrong, I don't have no problem calling somebody and be like, hey, homie, you got me on that one. That's a good call. Trae, while we're talking about all these other guys, Trae Young, man, if he ever gets a Batman, championships.
I was wrong. I was completely wrong.
Championship. He ever gets a Batman, because he's Superman. He loves watching him in that Knicks series, dude. I fell for him.
He loves being the villain. He's got that thing that's like he's got that killer instinct.
Trae Young can't, and the way he looks over his shoulder, smiling at the crowd, dude. And it's like, and he said and I love the way that's that old school dude. It's basketball.
He took a bow. He took a bow, and he's like, "What did they do at the end of the show on Broadway? They bow."
When he hit the three over my guy Reggie Bullock, Tar Heel was roommates with my nephew Kendall in Carolina. When he hit the shot over him, it turned around and took the bow. I was like, having Reggie Miller call those games was just perfect teaming, perfect job by the production crew or whoever sets that up to put Reggie in that position because Reggie was that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Reggie could tell the story. Reggie was that guy. And Reggie could say, and when he said, I'm all here for it. And I love the way the refs officiated that series.
It was amazing. It was great.
It was hands off. They were hands off.
But they didn't let it get out of hand.
So while we're talking these other guys,
we got to put our respect.
I think we need to shine a flashlight down there in Atlanta and say, hold on. Before we trying to build these other squads up, listen, he still needs a Batman. He still needs a Batman. Could you imagine Kawhi? Could you guys imagine Kawhi as a free agent looking at Atlanta. It's a black city.
Yep.
I know it's across the country. I know he wants to be home, but being home, listen, I'm from Virginia. Being home's overrated, gentlemen. I left home.
If he got a Batman, it'd be over. It'd be over.
It's a military.
Why would be perfect?
Sarge feels me. It's a military thing. Being home's overrated.
Way overrated.
It's overrated. You got to live different places to evolve. When I go back home, what's the old saying? You go back home and you see what? The same people doing the same shit.
Things.
They haven't evolved. Me being military and moving around the way I moved around, you evolve, man. And him moving around the way he's moving around, fuck being home, dude. Like, you're not going to play with the Lakers. The Clippers are the stepchild. They're never going to win. I hope they win today because I just don't want to hear the slander on Kawhi tomorrow morning. I hope they win.
No, they're going to be praising Luka. No one's going to be talking about Kawhi tomorrow. I
mean, could you imagine Kawhi, being a Kawhi assassin the way he is, playing with a Trey in Atlanta, being coached by a Nate McMillan, a defensive-minded guy who Kawhi's already plays D. So he's going to fit. It's just a team I'm throwing out there if he becomes a free agent.
We'll definitely have to talk about that. This is something that maybe we do again sometime soon. Maybe the next month, once the playoffs get in, check it out again, get back on this, and just talk some more basketball shit.
I'm always with it, man.
Big Vanilla, shout out where everybody can find you at. Big Vanilla, go ahead.
VESN Sports on YouTube, VESN Sports Network on Twitter, and then also VJs on Sports Like Conduct, my sports talk radio show. I want to thank everybody. We just crossed over 20,000 downloads, 26 states and 16 countries. I'm just so blessed, man. When I first started that show, I was sitting on the air mattress in a 1-bedroom apartment in Bristol, Connecticut, and no one listened to like my first 30 shows. But I just kept doing it, and it's it's picked up. So I want to thank everybody for all the support. So thanks, man. This is dope, man. I love you guys, man. I watch your show. Like you've seen me jump in and comment and stuff. Yeah, no, I jump in and watch your stuff, man. You guys have some good stuff. I want to talk to your I forget what football team he liked, but the guy that said that I must not have watched.
The Ravens.
Yeah, exactly. Me and him got to have a little chat, but
sounds thinking about it.
Football season.
That was it. Sounds good. Devin, you want to let anybody know where they can find you at?
So yeah, if I'm on Twitter at Genus, GENUS 39. That's it. Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. It's great. Definitely down to hop on some more.
Wait, you only on Twitter? You don't have Facebook, Instagram?
No, I'm not on Facebook. On Instagram at Project Boomer, but I really don't post on Instagram. If you want to find some funny shit and laugh, follow me on Twitter, Genus 39.
Well,
if you go to my,
I should follow Benchwarmers.
No, you're following me. He's following my personal. He hate me 702. He's on my personal. I'm trying to find him right now.
GENUS 39.
I don't see it.
That's crazy. I think it's my Twitter name. Genus 39.
I'm tweeting. I'm following him right now. I'm
doing it.
Tag me. Find one of his tweets and just tag me in it.
I am.
In 15 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Just find me in one of his tweets and just tag me in it, man. So Jeremy, I definitely want to holler at you during football season. Like I said, my wife's a diehard Raider fan, and I actually don't have a beef with the Raiders. I think the league is better when the Raiders are good, and I am a big Mike Mayock and John Gruden fan. I'm not sure what they're doing. I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of confused with some of the moves they made especially this draft, especially sitting where they were sitting, taking the Alabama tackle. I just thought maybe you want to add some more weapons, fix the defense. Defense was horrible last year, but I tried to look up tickets to the Dolphins Raiders game. The cheapest shit started at $580. They started at $580, bro. I can't swing. I'm not paying that to drive 4 hours to sit way the fuck out there. My wife and I were gonna try to go.
I'm working on getting some tickets.
I just DM'd you his thing. Yeah,
we live in Vegas.
Oh, so I gotta come out there and holler at you, man. I go to the Valley spot, dude. I'm a big time sports gambler. I want to get bigger in it. Yeah. I actually want to create like my own little gambling company and shit. Like I get so much right, man. Like looking at the spreads and football, I'm magical. Basketball, I'm still working because you got to find out who the refs are.
Yeah.
Because the refs call shit differently. Yeah. Baseball, I don't like because strike zones are different. Hockey's kind of just hockey and football is just kind of more real and straight up. Yeah. If it's a +2 goal, they know what they're talking about. But basketball, it's like, well, this guy.
I know some.
It's volatile.
let's just say I know some people with the Raiders.
Oh, that's what's up.
So
Good.
I'm working on getting some things.
Man, if you guys ever get a spare one, dude, I'll pay a little bit on my ticket. You guys ever get a spare one? I'll tell I'll kiss the wife and the kids and say, yo, I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. I'm going out to I'm driving out to Vegas. I'm hooking up with some of the sports talk guys. I'm going to
Let
the
me know
Raiders.
if y'all want anything.
Yeah, I'll come.
I'll bring you back a shot glass.
Yeah, wait. I'm trying to get opening game, and then at least the Chiefs game.
Jeremy, I need you to take us out real quick because I got to get going. My girlfriend's going to kill me right now.
Yo, I'm out. I love y'all, man. God bless you.
Guys have fun.
Enjoy that massage, homeboy.
Thank you very much.
Y'all ain't gotta kick me out, buddy. Y'all ain't gotta kick me out. I'll leave this shit.
I gotta kick me out.
You gotta kick me out, man. Go get your fucking massage, man. I ain't tripping.
I love you guys.
All right, peace out, y'all.
Everybody have a good time. Jeremy, take us out.
Put me in, coach.
Peace.